proudest day, and the proudest time, and the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally podcast. And Connor, we're keeping our 2025 season in conversation with going for a few weeks anyway. And this week we have Kieran O'Neill.
Yeah, look, personally think it's a bit of a special one. There's not too many rally drivers came out of Belfast. No. And certainly Kieran not only came out of Belfast as a rally driver, but he's a flipping entertainer as well.
Yeah, both on and off the stages. Like, you know, his driving style reflects in his way of talking as well too. It was very entertaining, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's a great conversation. I hope everybody enjoys it. But, he's had a varied career. We probably best know him for the Opel Kadett and his escapades in that Opel Kadett, be it in Ireland or be it in Barbados. And, he's had some very famous co-drivers sitting beside him in his time as well.
That's for sure. And what a story. Like, right from the early days, right through, and then even now, he's helping out, organising the Circuit Ireland and things like that there. And he still has a great deal to offer, we'll hear this all unfold as our conversation goes on. But, Kieran was very given of his time, and it was a real privilege for us to hear the stories.
Look, absolutely. And the man is passionate about the sport. He loves that sport as much now as he did back in the days when he competed regularly. And he is so involved and so good, as you say, giving of his time, not only to us, but to the sport itself. He's highly involved in a lot of things going on behind the scenes. He was involved in, helping to try and secure the WRC when they were looking at it for Northern Ireland. So there's a lot going on there. And Kieran is, so passionate about the sport.
That's for sure. But anyway, enough of us waffling on. Oh, please like, share, subscribe, all those things. Always makes a difference. So, but please sit back and enjoy Kieran O'Neill. Kieran, you're very welcome along.
Oh, happy days. I don't know what to say. What's the word I'm looking? I'm chuffed. To be asked, I suppose, is the best way of putting it.
We are chuffed to have you here.
It's I always said to young guys now, take plenty of photos, record plenty of memories, because when you get older, that's all you have left. Yeah. And it's only now kicking up where people are writing stuff and you're thinking, God, we had great times. And I'm hoping I can pass this on to my friends and family and things that, is always are in the Ethernet somewhere.
Yeah, that's for sure. And
privileged, that's the word I'm looking. Privileged to be asked.
It's an absolute privilege to have you here too. So, and I suppose, Kieran, what started it all? In your when you were growing up as a young fella about Belfast, it wasn't exactly a hotbed of rally. And what was it that piqued your interest to start with?
Hotbed's definitely a good word for them times. When you think about it, I'm from West Belfast, right in the heart of the Troubles when they kicked off in '69. I was 69? I was 6 or 7. And in the 70s, internment came in, 71, and my birthday was the 9th of August. So I could never have parties because of the Troubles, and nobody was allowed out during the Troubles and during 9th of August when the internment came. But my parents were very good. They always sent me to youth clubs and structures. I was an altar boy. I was a scout for Scout in Ireland. I was the first guy in Ireland to achieve a Chief Scout Award. And then I got pushed into judo. And this is all through local youth clubs. And it was all my parents to keep me away from the Ra and what was going on and the Troubles in West Belfast, so you didn't get involved in it. So I represented Northern Ireland in the judo for about 5 years. And then I got into motorbikes and I got a job with Ford Motor Company at 16 as an apprentice fitter. So that gave me a few quid in my pocket. So I went mad on the motorbikes. So bought motorbikes and we used to race them in Mondello in a production class. We used to have an LC 350. You'd ride it to Mondello, screw the mirrors off, do your days racing. God allowed you didn't fall off and then ride it back home again. So I always had the need for speed and always enjoyed going forward and the crack. And then the mate of mine who worked with me in Ford's, a guy called Tommy Burt, a real good friend, would decide that one day, let's have a crack at this. And we went servicing for a guy called Jerry Faluna. Jerry was a wee bit older, and he had the money to buy a car, and he bought a Mark II. It used to be stock cars. We're into stock cars. And then Jerry went rallying. And Jerry was a good friend of Dan Daly's. He worked with Dan and helped Dan out. So Jerry got the bug for rallying. We were servicing for Jerry. And the truth be told, we're sort of going, fuck, we can go quicker than that, like, you know, when you're watching it. As every spectator does, like everybody on the banks is saying that idiot there, we could have a go at that. So he says, right, we'll give it a go. So between us, we bought a Mark II Escort. Myself and Tommy, I can't remember the name of the guy that owned it. But that was all great. And we got this Mark II and says, we'll have a go at it. The deal was, he navigates, I drive, and we swap around, whatever. So the first rally we done, I was navigating, Tommy was driving, but the engine blew up. We came out and we got in touch with a guy called Andy Hawthorne. Sure you've heard of him. Andy used to be sharp in the Chevettes and the Skona. He ended up with an Skona. And Andy says, look, come down and he'd build the engine for us. So we're down and we built the engine for him. But the contact was his sister called Lorraine. And Tommy was having a sort of a wee bit of a fling with her. So Andy says, sure, come on down to our garage. And then sure, that was just straight into the rallying scene as such, you know, because Andy's garage was a bit like Group Motors. Every sort of, it was a Thursday night. Everybody would meet and work on Andy's cars and work on the rally cars. So then we ended up part of his crowd. Like, but of course, then once you stop working on the cars, you're straight into the four in hand, I think you call the bar beside it. Like, and that was all the crack. And we used to hang about with the Emersons and Raymond Masons, all them boys at the day. Like, and Jesus, it was mad. Like, in fairness, you know, it was great fun. Like, so Andy helped us out there, built the engine. The second rally we done, I think, was, I'm going to say early 80s. It was early 80s. It was my turn to drive. And the car's sitting already. And my brother-in-law was a plumber. He sponsored us, gave us a van. Thought we were going places. Stand with our Pro Van overalls on. You remember them ones you got? They weren't really racing overalls, but they were fireproof. So we had the cheap overalls. And I'll have a cracking photo somewhere of it. We says, well, I think it was Sligo Stages. But it wasn't. It was Monaghan. Jerry Faluna was competing as well. So our whole deal was that we had to beat Jerry. Jerry's the man, you know. We have to beat your mates, like, because we hadn't a clue who anybody else was. In fairness, like, the only other guy in West Belfast rally at the time was a guy called Noah McEntee. He had a wee Nova. Was it a Nova? In the Escort starting anyway, when we moved to a Nova. He didn't do a big lot, but you know, you were sort of like a superstar when you had cars in them days, like, you know. When people thought you were out racing them, and they used to keep the cars at the front of the house because they had no garage or nothing, like. So anyway, back to the rally, went on the rally, and we're sitting on the first stage. We were running the very last car on the road because we'd never done an event before. Like, we were that naive. For me to get round corners, I had to get Tommy to pull the handbrake. So we were coming down in the corner, and I go, and he'd dip the handbrake, get her sideways, and away we go. Because it's not fucking easy to drive like that. So we were last car, first stage, big long straight down in this square right. Jerry was about 3 cars or 2 cars in front. And away he went. I'm just sitting in the steams going, you're going, gotta catch him, gotta beat him. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Down. First, second, third. Square right. Didn't even try to get round it. Straight off into the field. Now the car landed in the field and there was no damage. And we're looking at each other going, you fucking plonker, you know how that happened. I go, I don't know. The wheel wouldn't turn. So we get out of the car, and next comes the road open car behind us. And the boy says, well, what happened? You can't get your car out. But didn't he know a farmer close to him? So he went and got the farmer, came down, pulled us out, handy enough. Helmets on, back down the road now, down to the control, got a time, and away we went. So we carried on the rally. Remember then, there was no bulletins, there was no results. You were just done the rally, and that was it. At the end of the day, I think when we got into control, into the final, when they got the results coming out, I think it was after 3 stages, somebody put results out. We were 12 seconds up on Jerry. We're going, how did that happen? Whoever was doing the timing must have thought somebody had give us 30 seconds wrong or would miss the time in between. We ended up beating Jerry by 12 seconds on the stage. So I think it took about 30 minutes instead. The way it worked out in the time, somebody, and I felt sorry for us, or just made a boo-boo because you don't say nothing then. Like, no. So that was our claim to fame for the next 6-8 months. Like, Jerry, remember we beat you and we were off the road for half an hour. Like. It didn't go down well now, in fairness, but the slagging and the banter was good, like. But that was the sort of the start of the camaraderie with Faluna and whatnot now. And then it was Faluna's garage, that we ended up moving into with him, a guy, Group Motors it was called. That's where we got Group Motors rallying in Dunmurray. Pat McRae runs it now. He's a good guy as well. But we sort of outgrew it because there was too many cars. So with Philip Robinson joined the pack. I'll tell you how I met Philip Robinson, the belter. Philip was one of the best guys you'd ever met. He's a superstar. I was out, and my road car at the time was a Mark II Escort X-Pack. Built it myself with a full 1760 Burton race engine, the pushrod engine. Because you blew it up in Lisburn every Sunday night and rebuilt it during the week, and then you're out for the next weekend. Like. So I was heading up the Twinbrook Road, and I spot this rally car. Was it black or red? It was red at the time. It was his red one. And you hear the noise and you're going, what the fuck's that? What's he doing up here? It's Philip with some short stand, the other side of Belfast. Like. So we seen him pass and I said, fuck, I'm going after him. Like, dropped the gear and away we went. We raced up a road. Wasn't there a checkpoint of UDR just sitting on the outside of it? There's no way we were getting fucking stopped. Like, so Philip out round the UDR check and I by him. And we ended up, they didn't come after us, obviously. Like, we didn't stop until we got near to Lisburn. And we both pulled over, fucking out, stitches laughing at each other, thinking, fuck, we're going to get away with this. You know, you're sort of going past them, ducking down in case they shot you, like. But it didn't matter. It was the first one at the end of that road mattered. So that's when we met Philip and we got together. And he just, you know, we become friends with people. It's easy to fall in with when you have a common interest, like. So Philip joined our clique. Crozier was another one, was always knocking about Coonassilla. So Jim done the Ulster in his car early days and wrecked it. So Jim needed help to rebuild his car. So he sort of fell in with us too. So that was the nucleus of the four of us that got together with the cars. And the people who helped us would have been Pat McRae and Group Motors, a guy called Jerry O'Neill. Who else was? There was a right click round at that time of just people who were sort of our age, stuck in the troubles, didn't want to, because you wouldn't go into Belfast or anything them days, and we weren't drinkers then. Mm-hmm. And you always had to watch what was going on, like, in fairness. So through that click and through the Andy Hawthorne click, and would you believe Brian and Liz Patterson? We used to go up their house every Sunday night. Right. So you were starting to meet the clique, and it was starting to expand. Yes. The people you were meeting, the people you were coming with, friends, well, what you thought was friends at the time, you know, and it was a great circle. Now, when you look back, you go, fuck, it was definitely special. Now, in fairness, you know, the clique. And what I always found up here was Northern Ireland rallying was different. See, this is where you got to watch. You never felt like they wanted you up here, if that's one way of putting it. They had their own wee cliques and their own wee fucking groups, and they done their own rallies up here. And we've done a few events now up here, but you just never got the impression that you were appreciated at it. I remember one time going to Scrutiny, and my gear was in a car down the road, and I was pushing the car into Scrutiny. And I said to one of the boys, who I thought was okay, not mention him, I said, look, land your helmet just to get through Scrutiny, because mine's down there, just to save me running the way down. Mm-hmm. Nah, I'm sorry, mate, I can't do that. Me. Okay. Pause. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mate, right, that's the sort of fucking rallying they do up here. So I says, that's it, we're going down south, like. Yeah. So we ended up taking off down there, and that's. It took a while to come back to Northern Ireland rallying, because I've done Chris Patterson sent me in the down parts a few times, once, a few other wee events, because we said we'll give the loose a try, like, but it just never seemed to fit in up here in their rally. And in fairness to them, they were quick because they all knew where they were going, and you didn't have notes in them days, and like they were racking the stages black, like, and we hadn't a clue where we are. We had to look at a map to try and find the bloody places, like, and never mind go to the rallies, like. So done a few wee sprints and hill climbs, but it was always the same attitude. It was never a welcoming place now, in fairness, like. Right.
Yeah. And it was a Mark II that obviously got you started.
Yeah, that white one there, that was one. Well, the one we built, and then what happened was Tommy fell in love.
Right.
With Lorraine, and married her. So his thing was, right, sell everything. Had to sell the van, the car, all the spurs. There's a guy in Coleraine bought it all. He used to always buy cars. I can't remember his name. I should have looked it up. He took the whole lot, and that was that's when I started building the Mark II. But in between that, I had an X-Pack Escort, because I was working in Fords, and we were on a real good wage now, in fairness, for apprentices. Yeah. So I had the money, and I wasn't married, and I didn't have a mortgage, and I didn't have to worry. So all my money went straight into cars. So I started off, I built an X-Pack Mark II Escort, lovely yoke. There was a guy in Lisburn, gave me silly money for it, like. So I had to sell it, like. So then after that, I built and a Skona 400, a real nice one. And it evolved then into a Manta 400 with the Archer. So they're always lovely, sporty road cars. And we used to follow the circuit and do Marshall on the circuit, me and Tommy. Like, them days the circuit was right round Ireland. And there was a guy called Andrew Petrie. He was our stage commander. And he was with the UAC. He was their accountant, apparently. There's another story on that one, but I don't think legally you can say anything. But he was sponsored by Rothmans. So we were getting paid. To get the stages. The more stages you done, the more money you got. And that was nothing worth talking about. Like, but we ended up with a whole troop of boys from Newry, boy racers, basically. I used to follow around all the stages. But then we ended up, of course, all the girls came with us too, because you're eating girls in all different places. And the crack and the marshalling and the crack around all the stages, they loved it. You know, that really was some parties, man, in fairness. Like. But there was one story where we were in wasn't a B&B, it was in somebody. It was Andrew Petrie's. He was in a B&B, and we went into his house and brought all the girls and everything with us. Like, talk about a duck out of water. He didn't know where to look. Like, what are you bringing all these women into my accommodation for? We just wanted somewhere to sit and drink a carry out. Like, so I know he still asked us back. Now he was a good enough guy, like, but. I say Rothmans looked after him well now, in fairness. Like.
But that was the heady days of, you know, rallying. It was like, it was in the newspapers, it was on TV every night. You know, it was like
it was brilliant.
Everybody knew what the Circuit Ireland was.
Yeah, very much so. I remember down it was at Waterford. Was it the RTE helicopter was sitting in the helipad up in the hotel, of course. We get up and have a look at this. Like, so me and Tommy, you know, there's no locks in them things. You just open the doors. We're sitting in this helicopter, and all the mates are ready. I want to get in for the crack. Like, we're going, what do these fucking switches do? So you can start the fucking. And I remember you're half cut, and you're going, nah, heck, but and Fern, thank fuck, a guard came up and says, you know, what's that? Oh no, we left our fucking code in here earlier. We're just getting it now. And they're on the way up there. When you're young, it doesn't really matter. Sure, it doesn't. Like,
yeah,
I don't think we could repeat some of the things that were done in them circuits, like between the boy racers and the freaking. But it was not. I don't think you even slept, because you're no sooner off a stage and you're away up the road. Like, I remember going the whole way down around Ireland, Waterford, and then we had to make up the next morning and head for Donegal. The stages around Sligo and then up to Donegal. It was crazy, like. Yeah. But there was such a big following. Everybody wanted to be a marshal then, because the crack was mighty, you know, and you were. It was like a travelling circus the whole way around.
Just everybody kept moving along with it the whole time. Then
so. And you had your downtown, you know, radio news reports on the hour, every hour, way in Besant getting the updates in the circuit.
That's right. We never listened to them. We're too busy in our own wee world. Like, we thought we were the heroes of the world. Like. But great times. Like, you know, you're meeting all their chase cars and all their up the roads. Like, and there was one stage we were doing it. It was in an XR3i. The mate's car again, and there was a guy. It was one of the circuits. You ever remember a guy called Rob Stoneman?
Yeah.
RS Turbo. He used to be against Bram Wiggins.
Yeah,
his father was dead on now, but a bit of a beano, like. But whatever happened, their caliper burst, and we were driving an XR3i. So we put a permo grips, took the caliper off, gave him the caliper, kept him in the rally, and kept him going. So about 3 or 4 years after, we always run chase for them, like. But that's where you made your friendships, you know. And the Beano's coming over here thinking, oh, these fucking dumb paddies, like, and you're carrying them, in fairness, like, you know, any trick, we knew the tricks, and they were amazed sometimes, some of the things that happened, you know, shortcuts, and I think I better leave that one. To get away with it. But now, Snowman wasn't bad. Now, he went well enough, like, but they thought they were, you know, works drivers, like driving.
Yeah, because it was kind of a challenge for them guys, wasn't it? There were 4 or 5 of them over to get Louise Walker and Mark Lovell cut his teeth there too. I think, right, as well.
But they really did have a chip on their shoulder. Like, they thought they were coming to a third world country, like, and they just didn't get it. Like, we were years ahead of them in attitude, and then just didn't. We never had the money. We always had the enthusiasm. We just never had the money. Like,
you had to make do, didn't you? You couldn't go out and buy it then, kind of thing. Yeah. So
there's one year me and Crozier. Do you remember the Estonians came over?
Yes.
Marek Toom, I think you call the guy, and they were doing a circuit in Plum. was sort of doing a video on them, and all the women were giving money to them because they couldn't afford tires and couldn't afford brake pads. You remember that? We run chase for them too. Like, fuck, we had a great time, like, following them around. And we found out his father was actually a high-ranking politician in Estonia, and he's still in touch. You still get the odd card, but for 2 years after, he used to send me Christmas cards. But the Christmas cards are covered in stamps.
Yes.
And this was before, I think they broke away, or they changed from Estonia or broke away from Latvia or something. All these stamps, apparently, he must have foreseen them, thinking they're going to be collectible in years to come now. And I still have them all up in the roof space. Like. I always mean to get next time I go over to Estonia, I'm going to hunt them down. Like.
Or go to the Antiques Roadshow with them maybe or something.
But that's a contact you make around the world, you know. It's fantastic. Like, rallying is some sport for that. Like, if you
it really is. It makes the world a very small place. Like,
very much so.
Especially now with the internet, it's just reduced it to the click of a button now, really, hasn't it?
And that was the thing too about the circuit then as well. It really was attracting international talent, like, too.
I know we didn't get an entry till '89, I think.
Were you superstars by then?
We thought we were. My first circuit, 89. Was it 89 or 90? 89, I think. In the Kadett. And it was hard work the whole way around it. But we spent more time. There was one stage in particular. Do you remember Gareth McCartney? He had a wee samba. Him and Philip, big Navigator. He sat with me in Cork.
Philip McRae, wasn't he?
Yes, the very guy. We came around, they hardly talk to you, like, them days, like, and there's the samba fucking stuck in the hedge, like, it was up in the north too, the stages, like, I think we weren't at the back, but we were close to the back at the time, running the thing, so I stopped, who was with me, Billy Regan, I said, Billy, what the fuck, he said, what are you doing, so we stopped, got out, took a rope out and put a rope around him, and pulled him back onto the stage, and away he went, and see, afterwards, his dad came up, and his dad's going, fuck, thanks very much, and all, you are dead on for pulling it out, but we thought that's the way rallying should be. You know, helping people, and that's what. And in fairness to McCartney, he never forgot it. Like, he always used to say, "Look, remember that time you done that? Remember that?" Like, and we winged it the whole way around that year because the gearbox kept breaking, and we're putting the car on its side to get oil into it, and I think we changed the clutch, and it was a nightmare. But that they were your learning curves. Yeah, this is how you learned how to wing things and how to get away with things. Like, I think it was that year. Was it that year or the next year? We'd went off on one of the stages. And the car stopped, and we went down a slip road, and the road closing car came behind us and missed us and drove on. So when we got out and got going again and came down, none the wiser, like, the man jumps out of the car and he fucking, oh no, you're excluded, you're over maximum time. And fair play to Billy. Billy's calculated it out. We only dropped 5 minutes or something, but he was up our holes. But he knew he shouldn't have passed us, you see, this was the problem. Like. And he was taking our time cards, and that was some row over that. In fairness, like, it did get hot and heavy now because they were saying, "No, you're out of rally," and we were thinking, "Fuck, it's the UAC, they know better than anybody." Like, but we kept going. We got in that night, and then your man had to actually apologise. He came down. He says, "Look, I'm sorry. We'll not bring this any further. Your start time there for tomorrow, and we'll do this and do that." Like, but this is the learning curve. You know, this is where you're starting to cop on. There's more to this game than just driving cars, like.
You have to kind of stand up for yourself too, because
we were always treated as, I don't know what it was. It was just, I think it was because you're from fucking Andy Town and you're in this sport that you shouldn't be in.
Yes. You
know, that was, but we had the money and I had to do it. You know, we never got the respect. I don't think that what we seen other drivers got. We're never treated as an actual fair play to them. They're having a crack at it. Like, it was always these fucking nuisances coming. Like, I think that's been the story of my life through rallying. Like,
and I suppose we should maybe, before we go too far forward, we should go back a wee bit. The reason the switch from an escort to a cadet, like, there's a really interesting story around that as well.
Well, we wrecked the friggin' the Mark II in Ballycastle, and I didn't know where I was going then. I was sort of thinking, what'll we buy? We'll build another escort, and I got chatting to McGardy. We were always friendly. McGardy used to help me out run chase and whatnot with him, service for him when he's in the early days, when the Corollas and the baby BDAs, remember them, the Corollas, the twin cams, he had one of them, the Zuki Swift. So we're always a camaraderie there now. And he knew Philip Robinson very well, so used to go out and used to go up to his house because he was up close to the Pattersons, and you're always in awe of there. McGardy was my hero in the days because he could fucking steer a wheelbarrow. You know, you put wheels in front of him and he could steer it. Like, in them days, he had the most oddest of cars. and he always put up good times. He was never one guy that always had one car, you know, and
He was always swapping cars and
he could steer them, like, you know, he really
yeah.
was one of the one guys that you give him anything. He's a bit like Meek, I suppose, you know, he always had the
Natural
talent
ability.
to drive anything and the natural ability them days, like.
Yeah.
So went up and he had this Kadett, and it actually belonged to him, a Herafelt guy. Oh, he kept telling me that was my brother's car. It used to be registration was EJI 20. That was the original registration. Again, there's the other stroke. I thought I was getting the registration. McGarry had it sold. So that went with it. But then we wanted. There was a class in Donegal, standard production class, and they were all RS 2000s. So in the day, the Kadett GTE was probably the competitor for to be up against these things, but Ireland was all Mark IIs. Like, you had all the boys, you'd know all the boys in Donegal. I said, well, buy this thing and have a crack at it, like, because it had a diff standard, so it was allowed. Had a 5-speed ZF box, and the handled fantastic. You know, if you looked into it, they were the better handling car than the Escort. Problem was, all the Escorts in Donegal were fucking bent. Like, you know, they're all diffs, it all as they do, and they got away with it. But so we says, we'll have a go with this. So we bought the car, we headed to Donegal. We started beating the boys. And the whole thing in the standard, it was class 15. The whole thing in standard production was all you had to do was produce a workshop manual to prove your car is valid as a standard production car.
Oh, they rolled off the production line.
Yeah, more or less with the safety bits. I suppose it was the early Group N when you think of it. Like. So we rolled up with this Kadett. Nobody took any notice of it until we started beating them. And Daddy Caddy's ear. No workshop manual, that thing's this, that thing's that. So then we were thinking, we're going to get fucked out of this. And Caddy says, look, you're going to have to get a workshop manual. And if you don't, we can't let you run the class. So them days, the internet was just starting, and Ford Motor Company was just starting to use emails and starting to use the networks. And I got in touch with a fella in Germany called Hubertus Cohen, who there's nobody in this world knows more about Opels than him. Like, he's just one of them German aficionados who just knows every part number for every nut and every bolt. A guy's a genius. Like, see the time he kept us right. So I was emailing him saying, look, is there any chance you get a workshop manual? So lo and behold, within 2 weeks, Hubertus had one gathered up and sent it over, but it was in German. So I'm thinking, fuck, I'm not going to be able to read this. They're not going to accept it. Like, where all these boys at Haynes manuals, I'm going up with this thing in German. Like, I still have the book. So lo and behold, I think it was Donegal International, 80, what year were we in the class? 88, it must have been. It was 88, I think, we're in the class. Into scrutiny and Caddy. Well, there you are, mister. He goes, flicks through it, you know, and as you, I remember Danny was very condescending as such, you know, he wouldn't let you away with much, like. We looked at it and fine by me, handed it back. There's the way we went. But I was waiting on somebody protesting, saying we hadn't got one, but they didn't do it. They didn't have the balls to do it. Like. But I always admire Caddy saying, you know what, fair play, you got the freaking the book and you produced it and you're ready to go. Yeah. Do you know who was a great friend of ours during them times? You know a guy called Emer Brennan? Emer?
Yeah. Yeah, the photographer now.
He's now he was our inside man. He was keeping us right. Like, he'd come down in the service and say, such and such is running this and such is doing that, and you need to do and see this next stage. He was a real great help, like, the whole time we were up in Donegal. Like. And then we made a lot of friends up there too from it. Like, and that was 88. We won the class. I think wasn't McAteer was second. I think he was second. And that was the first time I ever got prize money for because Opel had a scheme going, and if you won the class in any international rally, you got £500.
Yes.
But they didn't think Irish rallies counted. Like, so I comes up, won the class, sent the claim form in, knocked me back, saying no, it's not a real international. I get on the friggin' Fury it was. I says, this guy says, this Opel guy over in England says, you aren't a real international rally. Like, well, out comes the letter, how dare you, send it over to him. Next thing, a check arrived in the post. Like, £500 was big money then, like, in fairness. And it was more the fact of, we got money from a works team, you know, they were, what did they call it? Was the Opel's bonus scheme or something? I think it was called.
The dealer Opel bonus scheme.
Yes, that was it.
David McElroy and Kieran O'Neill always got the money too.
Is that right?
At the time, you know, the Opel went to 200.
Yeah, I remember them then. Yes. So that was a transition into the start of the Kadetts and into the Opels. And I worked for Ford at the time. I worked for Ford Motor Company for 30 years. Like. And never got a washer from them. Like, got a few days off work here and there, like, but that's about it. Like.
That was the only benefit. And you know, as you said, the Kadett was actually probably better suited to rallying but you were up against all these other guys who were all out in Mark IIs, and even the way things are now, the Mark II still king, and a Kadett is a rarity even to this day.
Well, everybody thinks you can't get parts for them, but I think it's just Mark IIs are so convenient to get parts. You know, you go anywhere and you get bits for a Mark II somewhere.
Yes.
Where we had the contact in Germany was brilliant. There's another guy over in Scotland, a guy called Mike Hoskins, a real Opel Vauxhall aficionado, and he helped us out a lot now with bits and pieces. And you know, anytime you needed something, and he would keep you right, saying, "Look, try this and try that." You know, remember we were developing the car for what we thought in Ireland because nobody really won them, but there was a few Kadetts. Malcolm Montgomery's wife used to rally a Kadett. John Lands had the Kadett.
Yes,
remember Lands and Donegal? He done well now.
Yeah, I remember meeting Brian
Clutching.
Yeah, his car.
That car's back in Ireland again, so it is.
Ah, cool.
It's up in the Peugeot dealer. He bought it. He's Peugeot T16s, and he's a Quattro.
Oh, Curtis. Yeah.
He bought it. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that. Maybe he didn't want anybody to know. You know what they're like over here? Stupid tell anybody what I have in the garage. Like, Northern Ireland's full of cars, and nobody knows about them. Like, they're all scared of fucking instead of pulling them out now.
And John always says that was a fantastic handling car and all too.
Ah, they're unbelievable.
It had the same power as like a BDA.
I think mine was about 110 brake now, and it was still fueling jacked in and drum brakes in the back. You know, the S-Courts were probably up around 160, 70 there, and running 44 ADFs, and you know, any cheat that's going, they had it. Like, in fairness. Yes. Where we were still trying to develop the car to try and make it. I remember getting the steel torque tubes in them and all to stop them buckling. The torque tube used to warp over speed, and you get this bad vibration like going down the stages. Like. But a fantastic handling car. And this is probably where the driving bit comes into it. You know, you didn't have the car in the straights, so you had to make it up somewhere.
Yes.
And you knew the car was capable of going around the corners, so you just had to try and judge your entry act, and always maybe a wee bit too much sometimes, but you had to be on the door handles everywhere you went to make the times up. But and the fast stuff, the wee car was unbelievable. Like, really, even in standard production trim before I started modifying it, like the car was fantastic. Like, with some great years as a standard production car. Like,
and it was affordable for you. Say you were just like an ordinary working guy, you know, with a few friends, and like what we see now, even like even at the lower rungs of rallying now, it's got very professional. It's got very expensive.
Our biggest budget was tires and petrol. Really, like, there was nothing. We didn't hit them that hard. And the good thing, I had all my guys that came with us through the years. They all paid their own way, and them boys would have carried that car on their shoulder to get you off the stage. You know, they were just that dedicated to you. So if you hit the car, it didn't matter. They'd have it fixed the next week, like, and we'll be out again, because they wanted to go to the prize givings and they wanted to go to the rallies, because we had a team and everybody was equal, and we all went to the same places together. And anytime we went to a prize giving or a hotel, we'd always set up shop in a corner somewhere, and say by the end of the night, everybody's over in our corner with the crack and the banter and the jokes. Like, we'd some great comedians, like Falunas could tell a story. It was fantastic at them. A few other boys were very, very good. Now, Pat Turkington, God rest him, he was fantastic at telling tales. Like, so we had our own company. We can go anywhere and enjoy ourselves. Like, what hotel? Was Gallagher's in Letterkenny? We used to take that over on a Saturday and a Sunday night. Like, you come into the bar, we had it full. Like, it was just full. And everybody's trying to get in to get a seat to be part of the crack. Like, you know, and the slagging and everybody wanted to be part of it. Like, and it was definitely good years. Like.
And was it 88, the year you won the class, that you had to take a run over the stages again on the Monday? There was one particular...
No, that was at Bollocks Chris Patterson. There's it there. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dublin Crystal 1980. That's the box. I don't know what the trophy is.
Yes, yeah, Shell Gemini Donegal International Rally, yeah.
That was hard. That was the fucking £500 box. 1988. To tell you, I think that's the only time I won my class in Donegal. The other time we should have won the class, that fucker McKinstry stroked us. He was running the Formula 2 car, do you remember it?
Oh, yeah.
And the experimental car. He's sitting third or fourth overall, like, and he's in the 2-litre modified class. He ended up winning the class and done us out of the trophy. Raging, like. Because, you know, to win the 2-litre class in Donegal was so hard. Like, it really was a feat to do it. Like, and I don't think there was anybody ever dominated it, really. It was always different winners every year. It's like, as going back to the gambling and the bets and all that. On the stages.
You had some crack, like, there was always stories about you guys, even before the start of the first stage. Like, there was wagers on, there was bets on, there was all kinds of shenanigans going on even before the rally started.
That was Jerry McGettigan, started that one. We were in the bar, and the Racky weekend it was, and we're all, as you do, meet up, like, you had Donnelly and, I had all the top 2 litre men, and I think it was Eugene, myself, Philip, Crozier, with the 2 litre modified men in our wee clique. So somebody said, we'll put a tenner ahead in, and whoever wins at the end of it, or wins the class, or comes first, and whoever's in gambling will lift the pot of money. And that's where it started off. It was only a tenner. For drivers, it was only a bit of banter. Then you were getting people coming up, I hear you have a wee thing going, can I join it? And your boys who had never a chance in hell, really, of winning the class, but wanted to be part of it.
Yeah.
And it become, I'm doing that now, and everybody's watching the time. So the first stage came, out of Letterkenny, started at the phone box, come on, they use it all the time. So who was the first? Donnelly went in first. He was the first in our queue. Something happened to him. Crozier went in, and Crozier's car stopped on the stage. That's what it was. Ian Regan was sitting with him, and the car just ground to a halt, and fucking schizzos were thrown. Jim jumps out, lifts the bonnet, and Ian gets out of the car, takes the helmet off, and he was a humpy bollocks, like, and he bucked the helmet across the field, thinking, fuck. Next thing, Crozier in the car, boom, 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 starts up. Gotta go. It was a fucking, the rotor arm had just sort of, the cap had moved, and it just wasn't firing. Ian had to run into the field and collect his helmet, and the walk of shame coming back with it, and Crozier's going, hurry up. Philip Robinson went off on Philip Robinson's notes. This is a genuine too. Philip's notes, he says, I'm going to make my own notes right now. Philip's first note was 100 slight right for a mile flat out till the first square right. And that's remember you hear Craig Breen saying it. Philip had done that years ago. It was flat to the first square right. So we got round the square right, didn't call the crest, straight over the crest and into the field. Didn't have the whole thing down. So that was his rally over. What happened to me? I think I got a puncher or something. And so on the first stage, I think we lost the first 5 cars out of it. But then I think it was Donnelly actually won it at the end of it.
Yeah.
Because Jamie Bollocks got to the end as usual. and fucking, I don't think he won the class now, but I think he won our bets. But that was the start of every year. Somebody had to hold the pot. McGettigan was always the man to go to hold the funds. Yeah. And then Navigators were getting involved. It was up to probably 500 or 600 euro punts in them days. It was punts like. Because you had to go to the prize giving, and money had to go on the table, like it wasn't just to be taken.
You didn't take it home with you.
But again, it was a camaraderie, the banter. Everybody wanted to help each other. There was never any animosity, and everybody's service van was there. Anybody needed anything, that you were there to use it. Like, work away is right now. Brilliant, like.
Was there any truth to the story that one Monday on the way home that you had to get around over and jump again as well?
Me and Chris went 4 lanterns the night before the rally. The rally it was. And we had a big session then, fairness, like, and we're down. And the notes were just average, like, because we had no more interest in the Man on the Moon, because we had a hoolie the night before. So we come off the end of the stage, and Chris says, pull over, I'm going to be sick. So we're sitting, the next thing, fucker fell asleep. Fuck's sick, Chris. How are we going to get this rally? Because you done those on, I think it was a Friday, and done a rally on a Saturday. It wasn't the other night, I think it was the Harvest. What was the other one? You had the Harvest and you had the Hills. It was one of them too anyway. Like. But on the day, we hadn't a racket done or nothing, but we took a jump flat. And then afterwards, you were able to get the photograph of it because the photographers were there at the time. So we got the photo and going, shit, photo's fucking terrible. Like we thought we were higher than that. Like we thought we were like Dukes of Hazzard, fucking jump over this jump. So we were on the way home on the Monday. Was the Monday? We pulled over and went down to where the jump was. Chris says, like, it's down here, get the car off a trailer. And we took more photos to see if we get better photos than the ones your man had took. I think about 4 times we went back over it again. Like, and we thought, we better stop this. We've transferred our luck here, like, end up bouncing off the road with some idiots, wasn't it? How'd they go off on the Monday, like? Well, that's a true story. Now. I think I sent the photo to Chris, the ones afterwards, of the we tried to take, like. Great times.
Yeah, and like that whole group motor thing as well too. Like this was in the heart of West Belfast.
Yeah.
And as we talked about earlier, like in the middle of the Troubles, like it was Was there ever any sort of people stuck their nose in round the corner that you were kind of like, ooh?
Oh, where do you start? See, there was like Philip. Philip worked in a guy's garage. Philip was a Ford employee, as in Ari Hamilton's. If you remember them, they used to sponsor Langley Humphreys and them boys.
Yes.
That was our guy. We used to go to their house we used to get their costs off for our car. Langley and Kieran Humphreys. They were two middle class boys with loads of money. Like, you know, instead of having horses, they had fucking Mark II escorts, BDAs, and but Philip worked in. It was a guy selling cars, but he worked in the garage fixing them. And they came in to fucking shoot him one night. Philip's down working on the car, and he looks around at this boy with a woolly face and a gun. And Philip fucking slammed the door and run. So that was Philip had to move out of West Belfast and went down to his markets. Where would you believe? I think it was about 10 years later, they tried again to shoot him down where he worked. Him and his brother Paul, the garage in Townsend Street, and it run right up one of the dodgy roads, like, but it was never much trouble. It was the late 90s. But again, the fucking boys came in easy target, like, we'll try and whack these stupid mechanics, like. So your man leans over the car and he fired one shot, and Paul hit the deck, Philip hit the deck, and then the gun jammed. So Philip was mad as fuck, like, Philip up like fuck. Your man seen him coming at him, run. Philip chased him up the Ravenhill Road. Your man fucking trying to get the mask off. Oh, don't start. Fuck. You hear Philip telling the story? Yeah, we were in stitches. He says he didn't know what he was doing. The adrenaline was going.
Yeah.
Next thing he takes off, and he says he remember he had his brand new snap-on ratchet. And he says, see, I'm not fucking losing this ratchet because it cost him a fortune. But if he caught your man, he was getting the full force of it. Like. There was another time when we were in Group Motors. We shouldn't say this one now, in fairness. Like. Did you ever build a helium bomb? Oxyacetylene and put it in your bag? Well, when we were in Fords as apprentices, we found this thing. You get these plastic bags and you get seal them, but you fill them full of oxyacetylene. Then you get a bit of tape, masking tape, and you pin it to the door and you light the masking tape. Burns up, and when it hits a bag, it poof, makes an explosion, right? So we were in Group Motors. I get lifted for this. And we tried this time, we'll do it with a black bin liner to see what happens, because this was sort of right beside empty space and an old river runs down, and you know, you get bored some nights and you're always looking for a bit of crack, like. So we says we'll try it with a bin liner. So we filled the bin liner oxyacetylene, taped it up, usual bit of masking tape. We pinned it to an old car. It was over in the corner, just all standing back, lit a few. Fuck me, you want to hear the explosion? Oh, fuck hell. 10 minutes later, the place was flooded with Brits and UDR and everything down. Somebody reported an explosion on the rail lines. They closed the fucking railway for a day. Started searching for this fucking improvised device that went off on the street. And we're all working away at the rally cars. We'll end up in Castle Rail. Oh, that was hilarious. And the boys no searching around and they find out was there an explosion. And did you hear anything? No, we heard fuck all. I don't know what they're listening to. But the railway just runs right beside the garage. Like. So that they closed the railway lines and fucking everything. The train from Belfast to Dublin, nothing run down that way. All the boys that were going working in Lisburn had to get the bus and all. Fucking madness. Like. That was the team that was together when we were in Dunmurray. Like the Philip and Jim and you could imagine some of the things you get up to. We were all like apprentices.
Yes.
All getting up the badness, like, and up the slaggings and banters now. But before I went off, what did you say to me before that? Well, Philip and...
no, we're just saying about the Karen, the jump in Donegal.
I know.
Yeah, we have that covered off, you know? Yeah.
But Group Motors was good to us. Pat was very good to us, but we sort of outgrew it. We had sort of maybe 4 cars and 4 service vans, and in fairness, it wasn't really feasible to be part of it anymore. So we moved down to Blackstaff and Springfield Road. Yes. Which is just off the Falls Road. And it was an old mill, and we hired a place out of there, and there was 5 or 6 of us in there. Myself, Philip, Jerry Fluna, Jim, a guy called Kieran O'Neill. He used to do homers, fix cars just as a hobby, to make a few quid. So he came in along with us, so we split the money between us now. But boy, there were some stories told in that place. It was the Ulster Rally, I think, one year. All the Welsh boys. We knew the Welsh boys from West Cork. They'd come over to do the Ulster. So they come to see the garage and the fucking happy days, you know, but they weren't used to what Belfast was in them days. I remember a foot patrol going past, and the foot patrol was soldiers. There was probably about 8 of them, 4 each side of the road, you know, with the full guns, the whole shebang, like. And these Welsh boys are going, hey, man, what the fuck are them boys doing here with guns? Like, But then we go up to the bar. There was a bar just up the street every time on Friday when we finished the rally cars. Right, we'll all go for a pint. So had to bring the Welsh boys with us. Like, but there's this one particular was the Ulster, Hugh Jeffries. They were his service crew, having somebody, and Charlie and Evan. They were the two boys who used to service, real good guys, and they're real good with their hands. You know, they knew their way around a car. Like, so it says we'll take them to the Blackstaff for a pint. So we're in the bar, and you got to remember, this is West Belfast, and it's a rough enough place. You know, one of the cages, you had to buzz in and buzz out, make sure all that. It was that sort of, and they're going, where are these boys taking us? Like, so we're all sitting at the bar. And the thing in them days with the Brits was they would always come in with a young cop or a newbie cop to sort of blood him, if you know what I mean. And they bring him into a bar because the boy down there, nobody had any respect for the law, in fairness. Like. So then would come the cop, and the RUC used to always had the shoulders and the flak jacket and the thumbs in there. So your man would sway into it, and you seen the Brits coming in behind him, but then the Brits would sort of back away and slip out and leave the cop on his own, and somebody in the corner would say, "Fuck, your wife was good last night, mate." And you seen this boy, and I remember this middle class educated cop going, "What the fuck do you do now?" And he looks around, there's no Brits there anymore. The two Welsh boys are going, "What's going to happen here?" It's like the Wild West. Well, fair play, never. It was always just slobbering, in fairness. Like, it was never. But the Brits knew rightly what they were at. That was their night's entertainment. Fire this cop, because the Brits, they always had to have a policeman with them. It was probably two of them, but one always stayed outside. Like, and he's always a big young guy. You know, maybe just passed through.
Cop school or whatever it was.
And of course, he's sitting with a fucking gun and the flak jacket, thinking he's Mr. Big Bull, and the big cap, like. And the boy in the corner looks at your wife's some fucking rage, she is. You used to get embarrassed or something. But the Welsh boys thought it was brilliant. They thought telling everybody about it. Next thing, everybody when he comes to his bar for the crack, like. Great times in the Blackstaff now, in fairness. Like. Jerry, one time he bought a new Transit. Now I was saying new, probably fucking 8 or 10-year-old, like. And they came in and took it out and burnt it in the Springfield Road. And I set Jerry up because Jerry said, I was full of my rally spurs. I had wheels, I had magnesium this and fucking heads. He got a fortune of a claim for it. He able to buy a new car. He actually bought a Kadett with the money he got for the Transit getting lifted. Like. And see down there, nobody would ever touch our stuff really, you know. They sort of, I'm not saying looked up to you, but they always sort of, fair play, user in a different level, user going rallying, and we're out stoning the Brits and whatnot, and these boys are running up and down rally cars. They used to take the car out. We could go flat up the Springfield Road testing cars. Nobody would say nothing to us. And remember, the RUC station was just maybe 50 yards down on the left. Springfield Road RUC station, like, never got any grief whatsoever, like, because you're always leave them ones alone. They're only playing with their cars, like.
They're not doing anybody any harm.
Not doing any harm, man, fairness, like. Fuck's sake, that was some years, and I think probably the best part of 20 years, isn't it? No, we're up here 20 years. 15 anyway, down the Blackstaff, like, through all the transition.
And the cars that were turning out, the Kadett was getting steadily developed. Jim had the Manta by that stage, and the big Nissan had went through the doors. Like, there was great quality of cars coming through the doors as well.
Crozier was always the one that was ambitious, let us say. So Jim would always try and live outside his pay packet, about what we used to say, like, because he's buying cars and he didn't know how he's going to run them, like. And he had an Escort Kazi, the 4-wheel drive one. He tried it, fucking nightmare, like. He Daly's car, another nightmare. The thing with Daly, and you learn these things as you go on. He bought Dan's car. I think it was 10 grand. It was a lot of money then for it. But you want to see the spurs came with it, like. You're going, fucking hell. But there weren't spurs. There was shit that Daly took off and replaced. Like, we're looking, there's fucking maybe 3 axles. Yeah. But they're 3 axles because they're done. Because Daly was putting new ones into them. And any of the old stuff that came off the car, it was done, scrap, basically. Like, so we thought it was spurs, and it was really just junk, like. So every time Jim went out there, I blew it deaf or broke something at the back of the car. I had no luck with it, like. Because we didn't know at the time, thinking you're getting loads of, and all the tires, wow, 40 tires. They're all shake, like. They really weren't worth putting on, like. But when you go into a workshop and you see all this ex-work stuff, we'll say, and Dan Daly selling it all, and you're thinking you got a bargain, like.
Yeah.
Well, I was Jim lost more money in that car and whatever. Never got a result, I don't think, in it, in fairness now. But boy, it could rev, like. Fuck, it was a great revving car, like. Really was. When it was going, it went well, like.
Because you think of the Nissan, the engines that went into, the engines went into the MiG 205 and
that's right. And then
They were great engines. Like,
McAleenan had them in the Starlet.
yeah.
that's right as well. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, great sounding thing. And we thought we were the dog's bollocks with it. Us wee team, we've got this big Nissan 240 RS. Like.
Aye, X-Works car, everything else.
Biggest heap of shite, like. And then, did he go to Mark II? We built a brand new Mark II for Jim in there, in the group motors. And then I built a Kadett in there as well. Fluna had a Kadett. And Philip built his Mark II Escort there as well. Lovely. Eugene Donnelly bought that Escort of Philip now, in fairness. It was lovely now. Yeah. Philip built his own engines, but never developed them to the stage where Pintos could have been developed. He was happy with building a good going Mark II Escort. Right. Like. Philip could steer a car. See, on the loose, we could never get near him. Like. The tar, you get ratchet with him, but on the loose, he was in a league of his own. Like. He was always, I always believed Cruiser never had car control. I don't know where he got the times from. Like. Because Jim took his car out one time out of we had it built ready for the rally, and he took it up Dunmurray Lane. He got as far as the roundabout and went straight over it. Just straight. And we just put new cross member, new everything in it. Next time he comes back into the garage, what happened? I sort of got caught out that roundabout. Oh, that one, Jim, you go round every night on the way home, like, and you didn't know it was there. He just came in, locked up, and just slid into it, cold tires and everything. But here. Didn't get away with his slagging, like, and had to put a new cross member. I think we worked about 4 a.m. that night. Had to put all new stuff in there, like, because we were at the rally the next day, like. Yeah. But that was a nice car too, the Mark II. We're all raging he sold that one because the car was special, like it really was. A guy called Jeff Scott done the most of the work in it, like. Right. Jeff used to do it. He's a great body man, in fairness, like, as in welding and building it. And Philip had the knowledge, and Jeff had the hands to build it, you know what I mean? Jeff would dedicate it to doing it right, like, and the cars were perfect, like, they really were as nice as you could get in them days, like. Yeah, because
I'd be a firm believer if you're building the car and you do it right the first time, it's right, then, if it's not right the first time, you're always trying to make do and try and fix, and it's never right then.
No, but we did have built some good cars in there, in fairness, like, and look, the nights and the hours, like, you come out of work and the first place you go home, get your dinner, and then straight down to the garage. And by the time you get there, you have 4 guys standing outside waiting to go in with you to help you build these things, like. Because it was like, well, I say a youth club, like, but it was like a gathering place for people who wanted to go rallying, like, and the boys who wouldn't commit to spending the money, but they wanted to be part of the team. Like. We had a fantastic team. Like, there was a guy I'm still very good friends with, a guy called Jim McCormick, Hyper, we called him. The name suits him, he's freaking Hyper, like. And he used to be great, but he came in as an apprentice. And he was in Fords as well. He got started in Fords as an apprentice fitter or spark, one or two. But Jim was always very technical. So he'd stand back and let him build the engine. And they, with Philip, the knowledge Philip had with engines was second to none. Like, Philip could build a Pinto blindfold. Like, he was really, really good mechanic. I was an engineer. I was in Fords, when you sort of knew your way around mechanical things. But we always let the young blood come through. And then there at the end of the day, I built that engine and we done this. And this is where they got their skills from. There's another wee guy called Paul Skillen. I think he was 10 when he came to our garage at the start. And he learned again. Paul came out to start and was cleaning the cars and always watching. And he was always a wee slagger, that sort of banter kid. Like, and his father says, "Are you sure them boys aren't abusing you down there?" Because he came home at night stinking, and he never worked at anything. All he done was clean and crawl underneath, like. But he'd be the boy that would set up the service van, and he'd make sure everything was in the service van. That you didn't forget anything. He was always the eye for detail. And you want to see the garage he runs now, like he's a great private garage, like a great mechanic as well. Boys like that came through the ranks. There's Norway guy Robbie McKee. He worked in Ferrari now, doing the bodyworks in Ferrari, where he used to help build our cars. You always set them up and give them that experience, and they were learning the hard knocks as well as what needs to be done to win. And they all felt part of it. Like, we took 22 people to Barbados, and they're all from West Belfast. And I don't think any of them had been out of Ireland before. Like, and all of a sudden, they're all going, right, we're going to Barbados. That'll do it. Because we run night at the races and all, to raise the money.
Yeah.
So nobody, because it was expensive in fairness.
It was a whole team effort. The guy was
a whole team effort to get there. And I remember our local paper and all used to give us coverage, and people would sponsors would come along. Our guy Goodfellas, Kieran O'Neill, he was good to me for it. Like, everybody's willing to help you. And the papers are saying, here's a group of boys going to Barbados. We told them we're representing Ireland, of course. Like, and everybody wanted to help, and it was some experience. Now, it really was. I think that's one maybe we better not go down. I will start looking out taxi again.
But again, you know, like Plum was there, got involved, and it turned into such a big occasion. Like it was like it was on the TV. It got all the publicity.
Yeah.
Like all the people that were good to you, you repaid them because you got them publicity as well through the TV coverage as well.
Yeah, I suppose, but Barbados was something special. There was a guy over there called Jeffrey Elliott, or Elliott, the way they pronounced it. And he was sort of Barbados' equivalent of what I was in Ireland. And that's why Plum wanted me to go out so much, to sort of compare us. Like, sure, our engine blew up in the first run round the Bushy Park. But fair play to Jeff, he had a machine shop. He built my engine for me, and he didn't charge me a washer, in fairness. Now, but he getting the parts from England, SB Developments, give me all the parts. And fair play to him, you know, they sort of just sent them and said, right, we'll sort the money out later. And he rebuilt that engine. It dropped a valve, and one of the valve seats had fell out. He welded in, put new valve seats, well, pistons. I had a better engine coming away from Barbados than I had going there. Like, that engine lasted 3 years before it blew up again after they built it. Like, and it was a fly machine. Like, it really was. Next time I'll go to Barbados and get my engine rebuilt.
Throw one in the suitcase.
But a whole different attitude to rallying over there. Like, and it is an experience. Like, I would advise anybody to go.
The yellow dots at that time?
Yes, that was him. T10 was the registration they called it. He had once he had his workshop, he had a load of cars in it, like, but so laid back and brilliant guy, like, really is. We're still be in touch now and still text and messenger, how are you and whatever. Like, you're still above soil, basically. Like, his birthday's the 25th of December. I always remember that. They always text him on Christmas Day. Well, happy birthday, pal. There's a couple of other wee guys over there too that you still stay in touch with, and we promised to go back in 20 years, and we missed it. Now we didn't do it without a car this time. We're trying to coax Wesley Patterson to go back because his car's sitting in my garage, and we're saying, right, Wes, you go and we'll go with you this time, and we'll enjoy it. But we lost a week when the engine blew up. Myself and Hyper and Ging, three of us were we were the ones that went with the car, went with the spur, so the rest were out enjoying the times where we were stuck in the garage trying to rebuild the car, like, but I wouldn't change a minute of it, like. And then I proposed to a wife over there, and in fairness, that's where she came over later. She was with me now. So I was 04 and we got married in 05. Like. A good spot. Pamela Valentine was a big thing to do with that, because I sort of, you know, you bounce it off somebody, and I was bouncing it off her, and you're always shit scared of her saying no, like. And my wife's 15 years younger than me, like, so I was winging it, like, and I said, Pamela, what'll I do? What'll I do? So we were around Barbados looking for a ring, and she came with me and our guys, and we're trying to get the cheapest ring we could, like, in fairness, but we bought it in Barbados, like. So we used that, like. I think she fucking dumped it, no harm to her afterwards, like. She must have got it valued. But Pamela was brilliant that time. That is one girl done more for Irish rallying than any other female I know. Like. She was a superstar, like, really, and still is, in fairness. Like. I've been in her company so many times, and you always, especially in rally worlds and service areas, you always get some whip who thinks they're smarter and will always fire a comment to try and catch her out. Tell you, I've yet to see a boy catch that girl out. Like, she has a comeback for everything. That's if anybody advice, don't try it with her. Like. She's so sharp and so knowledgeable. Yes. She's been around all the corners, like. But you always get one that I think, what was it? Raymond Hill one time said something. Oh, fuck! He was sorry he opened his mouth. He is a great girl, and the Plum that they all done a lot for Irish rallying and brought it to a level where we're enjoying and enjoyed at the time. You know, if we could get back to them days, rallying's losing its way. It really is. It's just not. There's not enough TV coverage, and there's too many channels.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nobody's dedicated. I remember coming into work the next day, and the boys would all say, "I seen you in RPM last night," and everybody looked forward to Thursday nights for RPM to see who they know on it and who they were. We've lost that now. We don't have that anymore. We don't have like, you know, we've some great guys, but there's no personalities coming through.
Yeah. No, because like the stage end interviews are fantastic. What Kelly and Andy do are absolutely brilliant. They capture the moment at that time. Yeah, but there's no record of it. It's, you know, yes, there's a program on YouTube or whatever, but that's kind of talking to the converted. We need it to get it out to the wider audience,
and that's why you need it. Now we're hopefully fair play big Gavin Campbell and them boys are working well to get it back on the ITV4. The Northern Ireland Championship, they're working that way, and they're doing great rounds. Like, but we do really need it back on mainstream TV, you know, if we want to keep it here. That's why I thought we needed the WRC here to bring back the crowds, to bring back, because people don't know what rallying is anymore. Like, you ask them who's the quickest man in Ireland now. Nobody will know. They'll still say Bertie Fisher probably, or
or Billy
McHale,
Coleman
you
or
know.
whatever. Yeah, that's
And there could be some great drivers. Like Craig Breen was doing well now. Fair play to the young fella now. And Creighton last year done well. He was bringing it up, and he's a lovely kid now, in fairness.
And like Josh McGrelane that's sitting in a works team, like with the MI Rally Academy, we have all the building blocks in place. It's just a matter of putting them all together. Yeah.
I still think we need making a works car.
Yeah.
There's nobody can touch on boy. Like he'll go back and he'll win. Like where we're trying to train winners and create winners. We're making winner to the box. Like he's definitely got that talent.
He has that X factor as well. He has the quick wit. He has the wherewithal to handle them at the stage ends. He knows what to say and sometimes knows what not to say too.
Yeah, very much so. And he has a personality too. Like remember that one that went off on the last stage into the car park? Like
Mexico.
Everybody was on the edge of their seats. Like. And if he had never got out of that, you'd never heard of him again. But that's the stories rallying needs. We don't need somebody going off and hitting the fucking tree. Really, like we need stories, like and to get the young ones back into it now. Like and here,
the year they won Finland, like Oy and Poya going there and beating the Finns on their own back doorstep, and going there and taking on the best of them and showing them who was who. Like.
I think McGrelane might get there now. He's young, and hopefully they'll stick with him.
Yes,
because you can't do it in your first year. It takes you a few years to build up experience at that level. In fairness, like, but
for sure, yeah.
And Kieran, speaking of stories, like I'm just thinking of one. Go back to '94 and the circuit, and yourself. You had the Kadett. I think Crozier had the Manta at that stage.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't let you through scrutineering.
There's 3 stories come out of that.
We'll start at the beginning.
we built a new car, and we were thinking, right, we're going to do a circuit. And we'd done it a few years previous, but this was a proper assault. This was brand new cars, new engines, everything. We're going to do the circuit. So down the scrutiny and banker. Pulled in the scrutiny. You're sort of looking, you're going, right, the car's fucking mint. Like I've never had a cleaner car. It was probably like all the Mark IIs now. Then it was just mint. Can I name a scrutineer? Probably not. I think better ways are not to. Look. Yeah, he knows who he is. He's sitting waiting on us, coming around the corner. So we're both queued up together. Who was first? I was first. Cruiser was behind me. We're just lining up, thinking this is going to be a doddle. Straight down this, hand in the window, pulls out the tax discs. Photocopied, obviously. You don't tax rally cars. So we'd photocopies of tax discs, and he goes, "That's not legitimate. Where's your MOT?" We haven't got that yet now, but we'll get it soon, shortly. Because it didn't matter, it's a rally car. Nobody asked for MOTs then. Of course, your man, no, you aren't starting. I'll give you the end of the day. If you get back to scrutineer and before it finishes, we'll let you run. We're after spending fortunes on entry fees, chase cars, accommodation, the whole crack. So out we came, stand talking to each other, make a few phone calls, rung Boucher Road, and we knew the guy who was the manager on Boucher Road at the time. He says, "Look, we need 2 slots. Can you do it?" He says, "Yep, come on ahead." So come down. And there was a guy, what do you call him? He used to run 00, our opening car in a Subaru. Lovely big guy. I just can't think of his name.
Oh, the guy is the kind of Colin McRae lookalike.
Yes. And he used to, that's all he done was, but he was an MOT tester. Fair play to him. He got us down, no shit, no nothing about that, straight out the door with 2 MOT certificates. Crozier into Belfast, taxed 2 cars, Madison banker, round and we pull into scrutineering again. Hands the tax disc, hands the fucking MOT certificate, and it was a fancy certificate then. Like, your man up the light, he puts a certificate and he's turning it upside down. He goes, "Where'd you get that from?" Because he worked in the MOT centre. So he knew what it was like to get MOT and hard, and he's looking at the name to see who signed it off and all. Like he says, "Yep, we've MOT," and he says, "Well, fair enough," and let us run like that. But you knew it was petty.
Yeah.
You knew it was. We should have done it. Remember they done it in the end of Nolan. They pulled him when he came out of one of the stages. No, he came out of one of the service with racing tires on. They weren't going to let him run. They held him and he got time and all because it said not for competition purposes on the tires. And then you're going, guys, we're trying to get people to fucking do rallies here, and you're doing that shit on us. Like McHale has a few good stories if you get him about that. Like. But there was always that opposition in the north where you always felt. Now, in fairness, the UAC went by the rules. You can't. They taught us all that rules are important. In fairness, like, and they're coming back to the time. The same scrutineer. I know I got into trouble with this. I clerked the Circuit of Ireland for 2007 and 2008, or as of 2008 and 2009. I was clerk of the course for the circuit. And the scrutineer knocked the boy back for not having MOT. And I overread it. I said, no, he's running. It's nothing to do with us. MOT isn't our problem. Let the guy run. Like, I got such a bollocking after it, but talk about going around a full circle. Because I was a clerk, I was able to let the guy run.
Yes.
Still banter about it. And I can't say that. I always used to help him when they were competing in that, and he always thought, fuck me, these favours never be returned as such, sometimes you got to pay back, but we never got it then, but the circuit was, UAC were hard, and they excluded Crozier too, one of the events, because he says his tyres are too wide, but it wasn't only Crozier, they'd done it to a few others, but you always thought it was fucking too much. But then when you look at the back of it, you say, the rules are there for a reason.
Yes.
And if you don't enforce them, then it just gets stupid. And people do whatever they want, but you always felt hard done by. Yeah. And the UAC always got kicked for it. Because they were the ones that really enforced the rules. And they got the bad blood for it within competitors, They were throwing people out of rallies and you thought, you shouldn't really do it. A penalty probably would have been better than throwing them out back, but... Here, I made a lot of good friends out of it, and that's one of my biggest achievements. I have honorary membership of the UAC,
right,
and I am so proud to have that because I just think, fair play. Because at the times that I clerked it and I went back and would give him a hand to try, because it was starting to drop. The circuit was starting to lose its shine. To me, the circuit's the only rally in Ireland. It's the best rally in Ireland, and always was. And the times the guys who run it, 5 days, you think of the organisation in it, all around Ireland, to try and close roads, service areas, hotels. It's on. And we're losing that experience because all them boys are getting older and there's nobody coming through to pick up on what it takes to run that size in an event. And the only reason we were able to run the ERC and the potential, the WRC here, was because of guys who had that experience. They've gained throughout the years. I think, the UAC, I think, is the best club. Can't say that. I have to say Ballyhinches because that's my own club. But for knowledge and for experience and for a lot of good guys give up a lot of their time so we could go rallying. Most of the people who went rallying in our era wouldn't have went near a rally only for the Circuit of Ireland. Because everybody wanted. Look at the big names you used to pull. Remember, you're starting a rally and you've like Ari Vatnans and Blomqvist and you're in the same rally, and even down to the days of Loeb. In Donegal, you raced against these guys.
You're on the same road as them.
What other sport can do that? In fairness, that's fantastic. It really is. And hopefully, I'll get back to his heyday now. But it's just again the money and the sponsors and they're just not there now. In fairness, Donegal seems to pull it for the year. They can do it now. They're big. But I think it's just 3 days is too much in Donegal now, honestly. For the expense of it now, it's okay for the money, man. But the club, man, are struggling nowadays.
Because as you say, it's getting harder and harder every year.
Yeah, and
everyone's going up. There's nothing kind of not even staying the same. It's going up. It's not even.
I gave up competing, I suppose, in 2009. I think it was. It wasn't. It was the day they brought the hands, and I don't know if I'll chip on my shoulder with the hands device. I don't think it's any use at all. I think it's just a scam. We have letters from the people who designed hands saying that they were never tested in rally cars. Hans device has never been actually officially tested in a rally car. The Hans device was designed for a head-on impact and to try and cut the whiplash out. They won't let you look around the corners in them. They're not designed for rally cars, even though they're now forced in on it. But eventually, after a solicitor's letter went, they give us an exemption for the car, saying, right, well, okay. I wonder, does that exemptions list still exist, or does every car have to wear hands then? But that was around 08, 09 and 10. Right. We still have the Lancia now, in fairness. It's not worth it. You're taking the fun out of it by forcing us. Oh, no, it's for safety. It's for safety.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to run a chase car and change your tyres. You can't take slicks off and go into a stage on wets. If you don't... 30 seconds. No, don't mention 30 seconds. That's safe. Fuck, you're down the stage and you go up, first thing's going to hit you. Where's the safety there? We can't really run a rally if we have to run the minute intervals, So it's not really about safety at the end of the day, And even drivers don't have to wear, navigators don't have to wear gloves for safety.
Yeah.
But his hand's not burned. But you let him away with it,
He's on paper as well.
That's a whole different podcast. No, that's what done it. The thing for me was then, I bought I still have it, a wee historic car, and the Ulster was the only rally I've done every single in the era of what it was. I'd done every single rally and every international. The only one I couldn't do was the Ulster because they wouldn't let modifieds in. And then they had the historic class, so I thought, right, I need to fucking put this to bed. So 09, I went to historic car. Who sat with me? Can't think of his name off the top of my head. OC is his nickname. Like that's not good down this part of the world. It's like O'Connor. Anyway, hope he doesn't listen to this. Ian O'Connor, got him now. So he says we'll do the Ulster, but the historics weren't greatly supported then. But all I wanted to do was get the finish, and then that was the whole lot done. That's the whole collection, every rally, everything done. So we done it, but in our class, there was only 2 cars entered in the up to 2 litre. So they amalgamated us with the big class because they had 3 or 4 in that class. So we were up running against the big boys as well. I didn't care. I just wanted to do the rally. So we done the whole rally. We won the class, but we also won the big class too. We beat the boys in them. They finished. So I'm thinking, happy days, we're going to get the prize given here. We'll get a trophy. Fuckers wouldn't give me a trophy.
Right.
For winning the class. And I remember going up to him, he knows who he is. I'm not going to say his name. And he was a clerk, and I says, look, come on, what I'll do is go to the prize. We won a class. You have the trophy bought. Wouldn't give us it. And I said, well, you know what, mate? You put it in your shelf because it'll probably look better in your shelf than it will along the rest of my trophies. And he still has that trophy, I'd say, to this day, and they wouldn't give me that. Well, that was the only one that got away, for winning the class, the Ulster.
Yes.
But it's a memory. There really is a memory, in fairness, but that was the jewel in the crown. The Ulster was always one they would never let you do, in the modified car. They weren't allowed to run the modifieds in.
But at least you got and that you reckon you have every rally in Ireland competed in some shape or form?
And then I know new rallies have come up and changed and dropped off. But from doing all the national rounds and all the international rounds, all the championship rallies, I suppose. There's probably a summer stage or something like that. I didn't do, but all the big ones I've done every single one of them now. In fairness, and I always liked that. And it's always sort of finishes it off that you've competed in them all now. In fairness, I made a lot of good friends the whole way around. Now it was brilliant.
And Conor, we'll go back to what you were saying there about the 94 circuit as well. It's going to be one of those rallies that's going to be remembered for a very long time. We recently spoke to Desi Watson, who won the rally with Stephen Findlay. Right. Talked about the snow coming in. This was biblical, the snow that fell.
That was the first day too, I think, the snow came in.
It was the end of the first day into the second morning, wasn't it? Yep. So,
but we the new car and all everything, and you have to pace yourself in the circuit. You can't just go for 5 days rally in fairness. But the snow came down and we were all running where we were running. And I always remember Crozier, he had fucking loose tires in the van. I don't know why I ever had them in it. That must have been just taking up space. But the bollocks got changed onto them. I didn't have them, so I had to go in on intermediates, it was. I remember going down the stage thinking, fuck. In the first few corners, you're starting to feel your way and you're being smart, but every lock of yards, there's a fucking car in a ditch. And I remember Cathal Arthur spun in front of us and in the ditch, and I'm going, fuck me, how are we going to get out of it? And we had a sort of a half spin. And that one's back forward to get out again. So we just got out of it. That was the main thing. A lot of people didn't get out of it, in fairness. That bollocks Crozier made 4 minutes or something up on us because he'd fucking forest tires. Him and what do you call the R was in the Corolla? Alan Jardine. He was an R1 that benefited out of it, in fairness. But what happened was it promoted them all up into the top and pushed us further down. But it was only that one stage. So you sort of make 4 minutes up over the next couple of days to try and get back on terms. So Ian Crozier's fucking going hammer and tongs at each other, and it really was. See, when you're somebody pushing you, you do go a lot better. Even our chase car crews were fighting each other, as in banter. We got there before you, and they're all, no, we're going to get our wheels changed before he gets off. And what time did you do? And what time did he? And one of the guys in the chase car for Jim was his brother, Mark. And Mark was as competitive as Jim was now, in fairness. Mark wanted our Jim to win, and the 2 boys in my car, Hyper and, was it Evan or Jeff? And there's bad winding each other up. Now, it was good banter, but we were in a world of our own. We went round that circuit in a bubble, fighting each other. What time do you do? What time do you do? All you worried about was Crozier's times. You look at the times now, there was times me and Jim set second and third fastest times over some of them stages.
Yes.
And we weren't asking nobody else's times. We didn't care. Because we had that much between ourselves. Like, there's one stage at the night, a dark stage. I think we were second fastest on it with James Cullen. James Cullen done it, and he was second fastest. But you ever get a stage where everything just works? It just gels. It was in the night, and you're just on remote control. You're staring, beautiful. The notes were fantastic, and like I came off, and John Henderson, he sort of turned and says, "I've never been as scared and as excited in a rally car in my life." He says, "I knew if we were off, they were getting us the next morning, but it was just perfect. It was just it was my best stage that I've ever done and enjoyed. Like, and I think it was that third fastest time or something on it. Now, the big guys you were never catching because they had the car and did everything. But in our world, we were winning the rally. Like, you know, it was me and Crozier, and that was it. We were 1 and 2. Like, and all you're doing is fighting with each other in the service areas, and they always get on great. Like, but you're looking at his time, you're checking the times. John's over looking to make sure the time's right. And we knew Crozier's car, and he knew my car, so we're sort of knowing there was no cheating or nothing going on. And there's nothing you could do to cheat, in fairness. Like, it was just who had the best tires. Maybe that was it. Like, well, that was some circuit. And then Jim got sure he got fucked out of it. Like, it fucked it all up. Like, he got excluded for the big tires. Like, I was so disappointed. I remember on the stairs queuing up to go up the office to find out the times. Like, Jim coming down with the head down, saying, "No, they're excluding." I think there was 3 cars excluded for running oversized tires. And that was, see, if you put them tires on a 7-inch rim, they wouldn't have been oversized. But when you put them on the 8-inch rim, they blew them out, and the calipers just fucking were too big. Like, and that's when you felt it was so unfair. Like, you ever do a rally and you felt the organisers were just out to throw you out of it? That's the feeling we had. And I was actually going to retire and say, "Look, no, that's it. We'll all go home." Like, and it was the rest of the boys in the service area says, "No, we're keeping going. We're going to the end." Like, and that was when we ended up fourth overall. Like, and we should have been third if the rules had been applied. Price in the Metro, it stopped coming off the stage. Gearbox went. A fair play. His chase crew fucking towed him in and got him in over the line, and they've cut the rope off and then pushed him in with the rest away, and he got away with it. And I remember thinking, bollocks, I could have been on that podium. Why did the luck not come my way when he should have got that trophy? I was mine. Like, but here, that fourth was some result in them days. For
it really was, and you think of it like, you know, it's only now probably looking back that you really appreciate just how good that was.
Oh, really? And then, you know, some people try the snow and stuff, but it wasn't the snow. We deserved that. You look who was behind us. Like Derek Smith, God rest him, was behind us, and like Derek was consistently finishing in the top 5 in the circuits, like, and he couldn't get anywhere near our times. Like, it really, we're going hammer and tongs that much at it. Like,
and as you say, it was just yourself and Jim. That was all that mattered to you. You weren't really concerned.
That was
about
it. Yeah,
Derek Smith or John Price or Stephen
nobody,
Finley or anybody else.
Nobody mattered. Nobody in that place mattered. Like, all of us was us two. Like. Yeah. But again, great man. I forget how many we brought round with us that time. Like, we hired a motorhome. Hired a motorhome, and one of the service boys, he opened the fucking water tank and filled it with diesel. You know where you meant to put the water. Hey, we get drawn out. But could you picture the next time when somebody takes that motorhome out again, and they're wondering why their water tasted diesel? You always remember something silly about it, like, I didn't know it was a tank. He filled it full of diesel. Like. Plus, he done us out of all the fucking diesel. We couldn't use it, like, next to our water.
And we even forgot about 92, like the national championship back then. You took the class then too. That was like, again, going back to, like, it wasn't just like you were competing against 1 or 2. There's like that at that time, that class there could have been, in any given day, there could have been 10, 12 guys there competing. Yeah,
big time. And I remember Maguire was quick in them days, and Vincey Whelan. Do you remember Vincey had the G3? He was our Donnelly was skating in the about of it. It was what was shoot Wheelers,
wasn't it?
Drifters. That's it. Drifters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nice guy, Vincey. Now, but again, there was a circus, a traveling circus, and you had remember the boy who got killed, Samantha. Him and Paddy Flanagan sat with him.
Oh yeah, Brian McGrath. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Brian McGrath. He was one of the other ones, you know. And there was a whole clique of quick boys. And then when you went to the locals areas, you had your own 2 liter, because 2 liter was the class to be in them days. That was the ultimate, the pinnacle as such, like. Mm-hmm. But we were fighting the whole championship with Maguire, because Maguire was doing the events. And in fairness, you were picking up points sometimes where your competition wasn't there. But that's what a championship is, in fairness. So it ended up going to Skibbereen. Billy Regan was sitting with me, like. Brilliant guy, really, really brilliant guy. Like, he was calm where I was always hyper. You know, anytime we got into a row, Billy would just step forward and calm everything down and make sure it didn't get excluded. Billy, he was a real settling. And, when you start to get hot-headed, when you're going over the top, Billy always knew when to pull you back. It was great. Like. But we had to go to Skibbereen. Skibbereen was the last round, the Fastnet Rally. And I really didn't have the money. And Billy couldn't go. And if Maguire went and finished, he'd have got enough points to beat us. So we had to go no matter what. Like. Yeah. So I rang Maguire and I said, Nagle, you going? Oh, yeah, we'll be there, we'll do this, we'll do that. Fuck you. So I remember I had to go and borrow the money. And George Tinsley at the time said he would sit with me, but he couldn't afford the entry. Fair enough, it was a last minute thing, so I had to get the entry as well. Probably wasn't a big lot of money then, but it was relative to what you earned. And So I paid the entry and we went down, and we're sitting on, was it the Saturday? We'd done the recce on the Saturday and a rally on the Sunday, I think. And Maguire didn't turn up for the recce. He must have been down last week, and you couldn't get any information out of him. Like, it was a closed shop. Like, the bollocks never bothered turning up, and I always get him for it. He never fucking told us he wasn't turning up, and that was the kick in the toys, because I could have saved myself and not even bargained down, because I was ahead in points, and the bollocks didn't even turn up. Now he said something happened and he couldn't come down. His name was on the entry and all. Like, but in saying that, what a fucking brilliant run! And we were in the top 10 most of the time, but there was a wee guy down there, and somebody says he owned a hotel, and he was supposed to be a real sharp guy now, in fairness, like Willie somebody, and he's in a Mark II escort, and he was running in front of us, and usual banter, and if you can get within 10 seconds of him on the stage, you'll be going well, like, because he's the local hotshot, and we catch him pass him on the first stage. Well, fuck, such a... You know, I thought he was quick. But you know what their biggest problem is, and I find this in a lot of rallies, a lot of boys think they know where they're going and don't drive to their notes. We had the same problem in the Isle of Man. We went to the Isle of Man. The first time we done it, we were leading the Isle of Man after 5 stages in the National. And you had all these hot shots that are supposed to be so quick. And Cork's the exact same place. The locals sort of know who's the quickest guy, who's the local. And they know they're where they should be. And you'll always have the same guy winning and the next guy second, and he's always third. And he might beat him someday. But they're in their own wee world. And then we're coming down and we're driving to our notes. So we don't know the roads. They think they know the roads, but you're driving the notes, you're driving the road quick. So you're able to beat the locals. And the same happened to Isle of Man. Like, one guy, Corkle, you called him. Apparently nobody can get near this guy. We took 30 seconds off him in the first stage in the Isle of Man. You're going, must be a wrong time. There has to be something wrong there. Because they know how fast they have to go to win.
They know how to beat the other guys. But
they didn't know how to beat us at the time. And that's the same happened down there. And your man thought, no, this will be easy. Like, and fuck, we caught him past him. He never spoke this for about a year, 2 years after. He took it real bad. Like, it wasn't our fault. But Jordy Tinsley, he was good on the notes then for us. Like. And then we come away winning the championship in that in '82 as well. Me and Billy won it. Like, well, great times.
And I suppose around that time too, like, you were being featured on RPM quite a lot. With the every time that you appeared, there was always a cloud of dust and maybe a flat tire. Or there was always some kind of handling. But like, it probably took away from the actual performances you were putting in sometimes, because you were always getting a mic stuck in your face because you're always in some kind of handling. But you were invariably winning your class, or you're doing really well overall.
Yeah, but the plum, we always seem to be catching it. Like, in fairness, like we broke down in Killarney, but we didn't break down. But we had to push the car off the stage. We were running out of fucking petrol. The chase car never made us to meet us at the end of the gap. So it was something like 2 or 3 stages to do, and we were winging it at the time, like, and we'd run out of petrol, and we got pushed through and off the stage. Now, we told him a pipe fell off, as you do, like, but he just happened to be at the end of that fucking stage, like, and all, and he caught it all on camera. See, now, it's a legacy, and it's great to look back and go, fuck, you know what? At least it's there, at least it's an ether, and people remembered, like, and do you know who saved me that rally? Eugene O'Donnell.
Right.
He told me from the end of that stage right through into the service. Do you remember the service I used to be in the triangle? I was shitting myself because I could see nothing. And the bean's flat in this fucking Astra. And you're 6 or 8 feet from the back of him. Like, and I'm just hoping we don't slow down. Like, he told us the best part of fucking 20 mile, like, in the service area to get petrol and to get back into the service. Like, fair play to him, in fairness. Like, kept me in the rally. Like, I think we won the class that time. No, we didn't. We did second or third. In the class end, like, but again, it was, it's your fellow competitors. There was never anybody against you. Everybody was for you. everybody's willing to help you, in fairness.
That thing about no man left behind, isn't it?
Yeah. And like I knew
You know,
Eugene from up in Donegal on a few good sessions and that, but
yes.
he took a chance, in fairness. Like, he could have left us there and carried on. Now he didn't. He hooked us up and pulled us the whole way out into service. Like, because there was no freaking garages the whole way around. Because we were looking for a garage and there was nothing. Like, I mean, if we missed a chase car, like that was, he couldn't get over the gap. Something happened and they couldn't get up around to meet us in time. We just missed him by 10 minutes, but we had to go on as you do, like, thinking I will wing it. Like, what was that? It was it wasn't Bowling. I should know the stage. Can't remember now.
Yeah.
I remember
Connor,
the junctions. Like,
come in there, isn't
hmm?
Connor, you wanted to jump in there?
Yeah, no, I was just you mentioned Killarney there, and just again, I was thinking, another young co-driver down that neck of the woods. You give him a run out, young Paul Nagle.
Paul. I would always take a chance. I didn't care, because if somebody's going to pay the entry, you'll take them, in fairness. Like, but I knew Paul's father very well, Morris. Morris was a gentleman. And Morris said, our Paul wants to go rallying, and he's looking a chance, and he'd be good, and he'd be good. So well, sure, I'd take him. So that's how we started with Paul. Like, but you know who was the biggest influence down in Cork in them days? Bob Kelly. Bob Kelly was training people to read notes, and he was training people to be navigators. And he had like his own wee school going of people coming through the Bob Kelly school of fucking notes. Like, and I was always getting the first choice. And Bob said, I try him and try that and then try this one. Like, so that's how, like, Dermot Falvey and all, who else was there? Adrian Deasy was another one, came through. God, I wish I could remember them all. Like, but they're all good guys. But Paul, you always know a good navigator. And I tell you, the three that I can remember the most was Paul had the voice and had the calmness, even for being so young. He got stick in our crowd, in fairness. We used to call him Banana Man because he had a yellow suit, and that was his nickname, Banana Man, like, because I hated him and all. Another, Chris Patterson was always good. Just always had that calm voice that could call the notes. And the other one's Geraldine McBride. Geraldine was always spot on, and notes were good, and just so disciplined, and never got involved in any old crankiness or anything. Just done her job, but she was good at her job. I think a female voice is very good as a navigator, in fairness. Nagle had it. I always knew Nagle had it. He was always going to be potential, like, in fairness. He just needed the edges took off him and sharpened up now. But he could call a note, and he was calm, and he never got into any hassling, and we had always great crack. Like, I really had fun. Paul came with me. I think he was only 18 or turned 18. I was the second guy I sat with. I think he sat with a guy called Paul Ahern, was his mate, and a Corsa or something. I think they were doing 00 or something in Killarney, and then Paul got the seat with me. We took Paul to Isle of Man as well, in the Manx, and that's in the same with the time, beating your man, because you just trusted Paul's voice, you just trusted the notes, you knew they were right, and you knew this is working, in fairness. I don't think I ever had a navigator who I thought, this isn't going to work.
Right.
And they all aren't experts, and they all aren't brilliant, but you call notes so you can't, in fairness. Like, the difference that makes a good navigator is somebody who can read the driver, who knows when to pull him back and knows when to push him on. And I think a good navigator can tell when the guy's on the edge and starting to get out of control, because he sort of knows it's getting close here, right? We need to pull back a wee bit and stop being off as such. Like, and Bob Kelly was another one. Bob was good at doing that now, though. Bob, we were doing notes in Killarney, and it was a 3 right. It was what do you call the one down the lake, Cara Lake. It was a 3 right. And he called. I said, Bob, there's no way. That's definitely a 4. There's no way we're getting around on it. I'm telling you, it's a 3. All right, we'll leave it at that. On the day, we come down, straight off the fucking road, and got alerted there was a big bush, bounced off the bush, and back onto the road again. So the car's gathering itself up, and I get up the stage, and he called the next note, and I said, I fucking told you it wasn't a 3. I will never forget the giggles out of him after. It was only because we got away with it, like, in fairness. Like. Another one was a time in Killarney as well. Jim Crozier sat with me and navigated for me in 90. Can't remember. That's a Hard Donnelly does it. I don't know. 2 drivers in a car doesn't work in a rally car because you have 2 egos. Exact same thing. It was a big long stage and then a crest, and then there was a distance after the crest, but the crest was severe. So we stopped at it, and I said, Jim, what do you think? Is it flat or what? He goes, yeah, it's definitely flat. Both of us knew it wasn't flat. But knew we shouldn't have. Who's going to back down on the day? You sure? Yeah. 5th. well, fuck, Dukes of Hazzard wouldn't be in it. Donald O'Donovan was standing spectating, and Donald says he had to look up to see us going over his head and to see where we landed. But God allowed it with that much pace. When we landed, it wasn't a big bang. You know, the road started to meet us, and it worked out all right at the end of the day. But I remember looking at Crozier, and Crozier's going, fuck, we're lucky there. Because that was going to be a merciful accident. Like, but that was two drivers in the car. That definitely was mad. Like,
yeah, you weren't going to back down.
And he wouldn't back down. In fairness, like, because we're both quick. Like, but I remember I scared him going down the gap. I was a year to run down the gap, and there was a guy, John Stangle, who had a Darien. This thing was fucking eating and shading all day long. We couldn't get near him. Like, but down the gap in the dark, we passed him. And I remember Crozier saying to me, back off, we've nothing to learn, we've nothing to lose here, don't go. And it was scary going off. But again, you get going, and once you catch your man, you're thinking, we're going well here, like. And you can down the gap's a lot easier than get up it.
Right.
I think you can go faster going down the gap than you can get up it, like, because the road's with you. Well, it was then, you know, all the camber's right, and it just, there's a few corners you got to watch, like. But I always had confidence going down the gap. Now, the stage had never scared me. I love Moss Gap. There's not a stage like it in the world, like, really.
And
is,
you can hear, listening to you, Killarney, it's a very special place for you as well.
Oh, I love it. And it's the people in it, you know, they're all, we always felt welcome. We always felt you want you down. Everybody would go out of their way for us down there. Anytime we turned down, that's the boys from Belfast down. And it wasn't just me, it was the boys from Belfast, like. And the crack, that was the only place we didn't stay in the headquarters. We always used to stay in Scott's Hotel. We used to take it over. Morris Donahue owned it, and Patrick was his son. And to this day, Patrick would still chat if we met up. We're down in Killarney. He'd always remember, you know. And Patrick, their gentleman, Morris was a gentleman, and they owned Scots as well at the time. Like, we got away with murder in Scots, like, it really did. Like, there was a wee barman there. I should remember his name now. And every year we come down, good to see you, and we give him a t-shirt, and he'd always have a t-shirt on, and he'd come in and meet us. No, one night in particular, all up the stairs. We stayed well upstairs because that's where they carry it. There's a big foyer with all the rooms. We're all sitting drinking, and the table was full of bottles of Miller, you know, and people's drinking away. And he comes up and he says, guys, we're going to get rid of all these bottles. He says, what's wrong with you? He says, bottles of Miller, you know. He says, we don't sell Miller. Oh, and we had maybe 4 and 5 people in a room and all, but they never said nothing to us. They always let us away with it. Like, they would book maybe 8 or 10 rooms, like, but probably should have booked 15, like, in fairness. But even in Killarney, and everybody knew you, and that's where we met Morris, in fairness, because Morris was the main man who started the historics, and we always knew him from the rallies, and him and Mike Marshall and Noreen Marshall. Mike always tried to act the hard guy, but he was really a soft. I remember Mike catching me speeding on the Iraqi in the bollock, and he gave me. I thought I was never even going to get back into Killarney again. Like, but it was just to scare you and slow you down. You know, he wasn't. He would never exclude you, I don't think. But and I felt, fuck, I've overstepped the mark here. And I thought it wasn't, or just as you do, 60 or 70 on a bit of Iraqi. You know, you're trying to get there on, and he pulled me, and he's sitting waiting for everybody. Like, but he got me out of the car and all. Like, I was no standing sitting in the car taking this bollock, and he's out of the car. Let's get out and stand like a boy, like. But here you learn, in fairness, like. And then Gary McCormick was another great COC down there. But even nicer was his wife, Maureen. She used to do all the organising. Like, we go around to their house for tea and all. And if you ever coming down, leave the van, leave the car. Everybody always helped you, like. And then even their sons came up to the rally, and one of them now, he was clerk of the course of Killarney. You know, the generations are getting older. And they're still involved in the rallying, and especially it's great to see that, in fairness too. Like, it's definitely. But Killarney was another guy. You maybe remember Handlebars Healy? Do you remember him? He was a big guard, like big fucking strapping man. He'd always a cowboy hat, and he had the big fucking moustache, you know, and his big. See the bollockins he used to give us, you know. You can't go in here, and you can't. Fair enough, right? Just go on in and away. And he come down. I fucking told you not to. He's like, big guard, like, in fairness. Yeah. I think the first time we done it, we thought he was joking. It turns out he wasn't joking. but he let us away with it then, because then he thought it was funny. We didn't listen to him, you know. It's just that rapport you build up, like. But he used to rally in our Nagle. God, I don't know where he's still with us this day, like. But Killarney was brilliant. And then at them days, I was going to work with Mary Hogan. And she had great contacts all around Cork and Killarney and Kerry, and she was big into stock cars. So we had a good rapport with everybody we're with, because we felt like we're part of it. You know, we felt like we were locals, basically, like, and we got away with it. For
That's a second home for you.
Yeah, more or less. Like, everywhere was the same. Like Donegal was the same too.
Yes.
I think maybe because you've done the events so much, you don't realise the amount of people you meet. You know, like the Furies, we'd still be friendly with what do you call
Ivan and Cynthia.
Cynthia more than Ivan. Anyway, and Danny Caddy was a gentleman. They were hard on you at the start, but you don't realise that's the experience they're giving you. They're telling you this is your boundaries and this is what you need to do. So don't cross them and you'll be fine.
And we'll always work with you. You work with us, we'll work with you, kind of thing. Yes.
And Matt Doherty, sure, Matt was one of the biggest bollocks you could have met in Atlantic Drive and up that side. Like, Matt was throwing you out of every rally. And you're not coming back here. You're not coming back. And I remember we done the hills one time. We swapped Navigators because the boy was sick and Matt knew it and didn't say nothing about it. Right. He's not my fucking for saying that now. Like. It was actually Jerry Faluna. He said with Philip Robinson, and Jerry can't read notes and he gets sick when and I don't even know how I got in the car. So after the first loop, Jerry's throwing up and I can't go into this car. So Crozier took Faluna's overalls and put them on and jumped into the car. Like Jim's half the size of what Jerry was. But Jerry had no clothes on him, so Jerry's in the back of the van with a sleeping bag on until somebody went to go and get his gear. So the way they went and they'd done the other 3 stages, and it was a time control. Matt was doing the time, and I remember Jim telling it. Jim's trying to, hand the card out the window and saying that. Philip's fucking revving the car, like. And Matt turned around and says, "Oh, Jerry, you've lost a lot of weight from that last time I seen you." Give him the card back, and away he went. So we're all in the prize giving later on. I think he done it for a laugh, and it was so funny, like. And we're all sitting having a pint. I think Jim, did he win the class? No, did they win the class, Philip and Jim? I think he did win the class at the time, so we're all celebrating. And the next thing in comes Faluna with a sleeping bag, hopping in the fucking place because he had no clothes. Now, the clothes were in the car, but he came in hopping the whole way in with his fucking sleeping bag on in the middle of a prize giving, like, any chance you fucking remember me, like? Funny, like. But Matt was a good guy, in fairness. Like, he'd always give you a balloon up there. I think he had a house in Atlantic Drive or a property or something up there, or that was always the worst one. He's always fucking hanging. He knew where to hide to catch it.
Catch it.
And he could just jump out like a fucking policeman. Like, fuck. But even right down to Cork, you had Alan Verso in the crowd, all them boys. Who was in Galway? O'Connell, was it O'Connell? He owned 400 ZP. He bought the Manta off McDade's. I think, was it Jared O'Connell? Possibly Jared. His wife was beautiful. What do you call Anne, I think you called her. And she was great crack, like. She was great crack, like. Do you know who we met to in Skibbereen at one of our rallies? It was the Fastnet. What do you call the big guard that ended up in Donegal?
Oh, yes.
Him and the wife.
Oh, he lives on the Garden stage now.
Yeah, they moved. They were down that part of the world and they moved up to Donegal.
Jerry
Burke. What do you call his wife?
No, you're asking me. No,
she was a guard as well. They were 2 guards, like. But Jerry, I hated Jerry. Jerry was fucking massive, like a big man. Like, we met her down in Skibbereen. We're all in the bar, and she joined our company, I think, along with. I can't remember who the other girl was, but we had a great night. It was banter, and of course, the end of the night, I always see up the room and all one of our service crew. She set him up big time, like. So he goes up into the room, and your woman's standing in the room too, and they open the door, and there's Jerry's feet sticking out the bottom of the bed. The bed was too small for him. And you're, right, good night. See those fucking laughs that we had after that. But then again, when you went up to Donegal, they were always there and always willing to help and the best to crack, like.
Was she a Sumpter, no?
What?
Was she a Sumpterberg, no?
No. She's a lovely girl, really was. Now, and then West Cork, McCarthy's and all the other crowd down there and all that. You know. We got one of the prize givens. Was it Greg or Darren? Greg. Who was sitting with me? It was Nagle sitting with me. We were doing West Cork. Prize giving, you're all blocked and never. I don't know what happened, but whatever. He was blutered and he was outside and he fucking fell asleep. Somebody stole his shoes, left him in the middle of the fucking town. Like he was sitting at a roundabout or something. He woke up with no shoes on. He blamed us on it. He held that for me for, I'd say, a good 5 years. He kept blaming me. And it was that fucking Welsh kid that done it. Wasn't Melvin Evans? Gwyndaf Evans. Was it Gwyndaf Evans' service crew? It was one of them boys. I thought it was real funny. But they took his shoes off and put them up on the thing, but nobody knew to look up there. They're probably still there. he held that against me for fucking years, thinking I stole his shoes. Like, it wasn't us, honestly. It wasn't. We done all that now, but we didn't do that now. In fairness, like, that's a great rally.
Wasn't there a story with you and him out doing the recce for Clarny Historics one year too?
Oh, you picked up some passengers.
Paul's married now. You got to be careful with this. We were out the night before. We met these two, and they're all chat. What are you doing down there? And we're down here for the rally. We're going to do the rally tomorrow, and we're doing the recce and all. So the next morning, we said, "Sure, why don't you come with us?" So these two jumped into the back of the car. And they had two fine things, in fairness. And you got to remember, Paul was about 18 maybe then, so we probably. Where am I going with? One minute he's missed our big balls, next minute he's going, fuck, what happens here now? You know. So we're up the gap, and Paul's calling the notes, and he's explaining them about, these notes do this, and you don't cuts, and this is your rights, and this is your lefts, and see this bit here, you make sure you don't cut that. And they're all really into it. They're really enthusiastic about it, like, which is surprising. We thought, like, but then we went off the gap and then down to what's one after the gap? Kilmacaloga, I think it was. So your woman in the back chirps up, and there's one had an eye for Paul, in fairness, like, because she was all over him, well, what's happening here, man? He didn't know what to do with it, like, in fairness. So he says, well, sure, why don't you try them? And fair play. And like Kilmacaloga to start down through the trees, it's fast, and there's no real major corners that you have to worry about. It's a few backs off and whatnot. There's a big tree that can catch you very quick. But then the girls start calling the notes, and Nagle's fucking writing away and modifying and doing this and fucking all. And they were all very quite good, in fairness. Like. But then after that, we sort of dropped them off and met them later, and they were the fucking notes we used. But we didn't put two and two together at the time, thinking, Jesus, we better do that again. Them notes are dodgy. I was your woman calling them, like, in fairness here. Like. And we set the fastest time down Kilmacaloga that day using them notes. I think it was 6:14 using them notes that they call it. And it wasn't until later on we went, that's your woman's notes. Nagle, I think she'll do me out of a job here. It was brilliant. Like, it was a real. But then, them days, in fairness, when you gel with a navigator, unless the car breaks, it goes well. And when Nagle, when it went well, in fairness. Like, because we done the international in '98, and we finished 10th overall. We could have been higher. And we were flying. Everything was just coming together. There was no problems. I remember McGarity was doing it in a Group N car. It was one of the first Evos. And we were matching McGarity's times on Carroll Lake and a few other stages in a modified car, and he's in the Group N car. The bigger brakes, better. I remember McGarity saying, how the fuck do you put them times up? It just worked. The confidence was high. With no even close ones. It just gelled, and we won the class. That was the year we got the Sean Conlon. That was the trophy I always wanted. Yes. Remember the boy was killed and the thing, and that was always the prestigious trophy for the 2-liter modified guys to win. Mm-hmm. That was the trophy that you got your name in that. That was you made, like, and I always wanted to win it, man. That was the year we won it, man, in fairness. And then in '98 we went on to win the historics as well, like, with Paul.
Because that was lovely for Paul then too. Like, the rally's father started, and
very much so,
even to this day you see how much that rally means to him as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like, because when we came up, the last stage was John Hickey lived on it, down through the bridge in the dark. Gortnagan. The last stage, and we're sitting with a few close ones earlier on. Who was the guy that was always quick down there? Grew up here, Cahill Rogers.
Cahill Rogers, yeah.
Cahill Rogers. Yeah. Eugene Donnelly was sitting with Cahill Rogers, and they'd won it the year previous, I think. And we're nip and tuck. It's sort of always in the top 3 stage times, and anybody could have won it, but Cahill always had that wee edge, and you sort of thought, fuck, he's near got this wrapped up. And it was the same stage I run out of paddle that time. It was that stage, and they came around, and when we came around, they went off. They were just straight off into the shuck. And Donnelly was out, getting a shoulder pushing, trying to get the car out. And see, when you come around a corner and all of a sudden you catch their eye, that split second, you've lost your lane, I just hit the brakes, and I slid. I thought I was going to hit him and knock him back into the fucking ditch. I missed Donnelly by inches. Donnelly was pushing, and we just got to the side of him. And you're going, fuck, what, man? He was raging. I could see his face. But you hit reverse, and you come back out, and away you go. And I remember going down the stage, Nagle says, that was close, boy. And we had to fucking killed him. Never had hit him. Like. But then he turns around and says, we're leading. No. Then the fucking shit hit the fan. Well, one stage to go, we just moved into the lead. But Phil Collins was second. He was next to us. So we come into the start of Gortnagan. It was in the dark, and we had the lights on. I think with 10 up on him, maybe 10 or 12 up on him. Collins comes out. Collins a gentleman, like, but he knows all the fucking the talk and the hacks as such, like. And he comes up and goes, "Well, guys, how you doing? Oh, we're going well." And just Nagle, I love this stage. Fair play to you, like, didn't know what to say. Like, Phil's ex-works driver, and you're thinking, he goes, "I have my new lights on, and I love driving in the dark. And you see, when I had the Sierra and when we had the Manta, I was always quick and trying to wind you up, and he was written there, like." I'm going, fuck, what am I going to do? This cunt catches. Like, I can't let this go now, like. So in the car, and I'm starting to get rolled up the start, and I said, "Paul, what do you think?" And he says, "Worry about him, we'll go for it." He says, "We know this stage better than anybody." And that's the confidence boost. You just need somebody to be with you. So when in this stage, now in fairness, the first corner was sort of overshadowed a wee bit. So that put the pressure on. We went, fuck, we're going to... And you're always in the mirror. You're always flicking up, looking for the lights to see, can you see him coming? Like, So off the end of the stage, we stopped dead, got our time. Paul's on the watch, counting. No sign of Collins. He's like, "We have this." We took 14 out of him on it. Came out over, and the stage comes out under a bridge, and we got the bridge, and there was Morris and the whole fucking shebang all waiting on us. Like, it was like you see nowadays when everybody meets at the end of the stage, and we all get out. And like, the win at the end was big because nobody ever expected us to be winners at it. And eventually we got our name on the trophy, like, and such a night. The prize given was unbelievable, like, really was. Like, and everybody enjoyed it. And even everybody in Killarney was glad we won it. And one was with Phil Collins. That was the big thing, Bino coming over, who's the ex-works driver. And we were always their favourites, in fairness, like, and we were treated like lords. We got invited down the next weekend, and it wasn't only me. The whole team got invited back down for it's a Killarney, not a prize given, but a Killarney thank you to all the marshals. And they put us all, our guys, up in a hotel, and went down to Jackie Healy-Rae had a bar. Down there, and we all landed in. It was a free bar that night. The club paid for all the drink. Oh, such a night, like, just for sort of to remember the whole thing, like, and brilliant, really, really brilliant, like, something else, like.
And like, you said earlier too about the way that the young guys come into the garage and learn their trade and all. Like, whenever you have the likes of Paul Nagle, Chris Patterson, Dermot Falvey, and like Liam Regan started, he done a few.
That's right. He sent me once now, in fairness, like, Liam.
Gary Nolan, another man.
Yeah, Gary, good guy. It took me a while getting Gary into a car now, in fairness, because he was always with the guy from the Green Mark too.
Oh, Hillary and Adrian.
Adrian, them boys. Gary had a seat as such. He had plenty of seats coming, like. But he always wanted to say, "We should burst the diff for fuck's sakes." We're up the gap, flying, everything going great, and we're caught and passed. See in the photograph, he's coming up the gap, but we passed him. But we came around and we sort of half spun, and the car came the right way, and I put in the gear and let the clutch out, and I heard the ding. It took a tooth of the crown wheel. Bollocks! Like, so I limped around the rest of the stage, turned left, and then the diff collapsed on us. Like, that was as far as we got. The gap went right them days. That was Gary in it, like. But at least he got in halfway. In fairness, but there's nothing beats the gap. The gap's fantastic. I'll tell you a quick story over because Greg McCormick. The first time we done Killarney, it started well down. The stage just started out of town, and it was our first time doing it. And Greg was running. He's in front of us. But we were sort of in, all the 2 leaders were together. I remember Greg coming down and, as Greg opened the door, "Well, how are you feeling?" He said, "A wee bit of advice, just take it handy at the start. Make sure your tyres are warmed up." He said, "See, these first few corners are very slippy and, don't get caught out at the start," in other words. And he was genuine. He's giving us good advice. Like, we thought, fuck, fair play to you, Greg, because we didn't know the gap first time ever up it, like. So off there, all the boys are away. Like, so we go, right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, up first, second, third. Now watch these corners, you're warming your tire. And you can feel the car going to go. Like, we go round about, there was a 3 left and a 2 right. And we're just starting to get there. Where's McCormick on his roof? He rolled. So much for the advice he gave me. Cold tires. And he's out and he's fucking waving like that. Things on his roof for fuck's sake. I get in the bar later, I'm going to laugh about it, like, but it's just the stories, like, in fairness, like. But Greg didn't do Killarney that much. I've done the historics a few times now, in fairness, like. But he was better than the loose. Greg was always quicker than the loose.
He had a very natural driver again. That kind of it was probably suited the loose better.
I know I'm jumping about a bit, but see the year 98 it was, we won Killarney and then we won the historics. John Moynihan set my car up. John Moynihan was an escort man, in fairness, like. Yeah. But I thought, look, I'm going to leave the car down to John, and He's good. He worked
Yeah.
wonders in that car. I don't know what he done was any different, but just giving you the confidence to get into the car. Like I remember going up the gap in Kumu tires, and they were probably road tires in fairness, but they were just starting to come in them. And I believed that nobody could beat me up the gap because I had special tires and the car handled and everything. See, when you're in your mindset's right, you can do it. Like it really is. There's a lot of mind games in it. Like, and then the Killarney at the starts, you always got the hooligans fucking, revving and spinning the wheels up to the start, and everybody's saying that wanker there. Like, and it's just waiting each other up. That's all it is. You're just waiting each other up. Like, but when you get to the top, that's when it counts. Like, when the times are there. Like, I remember John Shanahan doing it, and everybody like, fucking idiot, like, but fuck, he could go now, Shanahan, like, but he had everybody else wound up because of his antics, spinning and fucking drifting up and down. Like, fucking idiot, where does he know he's at? Like, he gets up the gap and he's took 5 off you, like, you're going, fuck, where played him, like.
And you see his two young boys now, like
they're drifting now, so they are.
And like they are superstars. Like Connor's a Red Bull athlete, and everything else.
Right,
like that. It's fantastic to see. What come out of a very humble household. Like they are now the cream of the crop.
Big time. And you know the joke about this, seeing the guys we talk about with now, they go down to where John lives in Shanahan, and they know of him now as such in that town. They always mention John. I think John's just selling the cars now. I don't think he competes anymore now, but he was sharp now, in fairness. Now, he knew the place and he had a good car, but he had the balls to drive it. Like, Shanahan was a bit like myself. He either won or burst. He'd either go off or else he'd win. Like, you knew he was the one that was you're going to watch it. It was fucking Kilmacaloe the opposite way. Would come up and Shanahan was leading. We were second in the class at that time. I think it was heading back into Killarney. And we come round the corner and there's Shanahan just straight off into, it was a square left just before the phone box, and the arse of the car was sticking out. And you're thinking to yourself, how in the name of God did he end up in there? He knows the stage. It was a wide corner, in fairness. I'm thinking, what fucking speed was he carrying that he couldn't get round the corner and had to go straight on and into the ditch? Like, and you're going, fucking, he's either mad or fucking stupid, like. But you wouldn't call that because he was a tight bollocks, like. At the end of the day. I think that's why we get on, because we never put up with any of his shit, like. We always bantered him, like. You always a laugh with him now, in fairness, like.
And I suppose then to start wrapping things up, like, you sit
now with the... I told you this would run on. And we haven't even got near the organisational bits of it all.
Like, you got involved in, helping out run the circuit, and then, whenever Bobby Wallace got it back and, brought it up to the ERC, and there was a whole talk about the World Championship coming here. Like, there is so much potential here, really.
Oh, big time. Big time. Like, and Bobby had the heart to do it. The way I got involved with Bobby, I clerked a few of our events. I went into more of the organisational side of it. And it was championship coordinator for the Northern Ireland Championship for 3 years. And I always had the competitor's eyes on to see what was best for the competitor, where every other individual I felt had their club's interests at heart and what's best for their club and their event, rather than the big picture for the guys who's paying the entry. And Mike, what I enjoyed about running the championship was the Northern Ireland Championship, you had to register to get points. I think that's the biggest load of bollocks in any championship. Okay. Every person who starts that rally should be part of the championship, whether they like it or not. Because then at least you know who you're racing. When you go out there, you're not thinking, well, I don't have to beat him and him, so I can let them get on with it, and I'll get maximum points.
Stickers in his car,
like we were going to the prize give. Yeah, we were going to prize games, and guys who'd never even won the class or finished in the top 3 of the class is coming home with the trophies. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that's a cop out. If you're going to win, you've got to beat everybody. You've got to be the best to beat. So I got it round and eventually coaxed them into, right, if you enter the championship, you're part of it. That's it. You don't have to, if you enter the rally, you're part of the championship. So it meant everybody knew what points they got, and he got the hot spots on the day. They got the maximum points, but it didn't matter because they didn't do the rest of the events. Yes. But I always thought if anybody started the events, it'll drag them into the championship. They didn't plan to do it.
Them to go and do another
round. I thought it was great, and that was one of the things that was thought this is proper. Competitors will like this. Quick guys will like this, because when you win the championship or you win the class, you've earned it. You get the points for it. The other one was here. The prize given here was on a Monday night, and you went up and you had tea and you had a sandwich and you got your trophy, and they had the big screen up with all the cars, and then afterwards you all went home. I'm going, guys, you don't know what you're missing. The prize givens we had down south, it didn't. I remember it was done. What year was the World Cup in Donegal?
Oh yeah, 92.
And we were at the prize giving there, and I never forget the atmosphere. for the rally, and it was on the big screen. The World Cup in Ireland, we qualified, and it was fantastic. Like, then you go to Monday night and they're all drinking tea and having like, we need to change this. So I got it changed, and fair play to them. They went with me and said, right, we'll give this a go. We put a $5 in every entry or something, and that money then paid for the prize given at the end of the year. It took maybe a year or two to get off the ground, and now everybody's looking forward to the championship for a hoolie and a night partying and everybody doing. And so that was something that I thought, there's my legacy. At least they'll let me change that. My downfall was I got 10 grand sponsorship from Hankook, the Northern Ireland Championship. Because that money could have got the TV, it could have got everything. I had a deal done.
Yeah, because they started supporting young drivers, wasn't it? There was a junior Hankook.
Yeah, we were actually going. Yeah. Now, in fairness, Gavin Campbell and Brian Crawford and the committee now are starting to get it back on track. But we're getting there. We really are getting there. But I Tyndall on board. I mean, we needed 5 grand from every club who had a round in the Northern Ireland Championship to pay for to get it on TV. And of course, you go to the meetings. We don't have that money. We couldn't afford that. That's way too much. And there was no major, but they wouldn't spend it. They wouldn't bring it out, and they're always keeping it for a rainy day, like. Yes. And then whenever we lost the TV, then it all, my opinion, went downhill since then, like.
But as you say, like, that's starting to turn around. But I suppose we're starting to touch on Bobby Wallace, like the time that Craig Breen, Lappy, all those guys come over, and like the helicopter footage over Hamilton's Folly and what you call it, Glen Dunn and Torhead. It was spectacular.
It was. Bobby had the contacts, in fairness. Yeah. Bobby put a lot of his own money into that, his personal money. Now, he's a wealthy wee bollocks anyway, because he made money over in the Arabs world when he was fucking navigating. Like, he's some story to tell. You should get him some night. You want to hear some of the tales he has now, from bringing Ronan Morgan. He was one of the first that sort of went navigating.
Yes. For
the money as such over there. Like, but fair play to him, he came here and he had a passion to bring the rally here. He had half the clubs on board, and the other half were sort of pissed off with him because he's pulling favours everywhere to make this happen, and he never seemed to give them back. Like, Bobby would come and ask somebody to bring their car to an event for PR purposes, and then they put an entry and they'd knock them back because he didn't personally, but they were too late or something, and they expected that he should have done this, and the favours sort of run out. Like, but he had the passion and he had the knowledge. Like, he just didn't have the backing. The last time for the WRC, and I was involved in this, we were, I'd say, 2 days away from getting the funding. The problem was the DUP wouldn't talk to the Shinners and vice versa, and they were the ones writing the checks. So we needed somebody to write the checks to get this through. So Bobby had great DUP contacts. Him and Ian Jr. were from off the wall. Like, Ian Jr. was great. So he had to give you the money himself as long as it was somebody else's money. But he was good at getting it, because we had to put up the government asked us for this survey where you've got to prove so many beds, and we're probably going to talk about 30 grand to do it. And Bobby's going, I haven't got that money. And then, no, Bobby, you're not paying for it. They'll be paying for it. Right enough, they wrote the check and they paid 30 grand so they could do this survey to prove the rally was worth bringing. So we were so close to getting the Shinners. I had contacts in the Shinners, and we were getting them together, and we were that close, and then Stormont fucking fell. It fucking fell out with HR, and we missed it by inches, like. And that's so, because we had them, at Ian PM with a couple, what do you call her from down the markets? Deirdre Hargey. She was the one to write the checks, and we're into her spad. Bobby had a meeting with the spad. He was all for it. It was looking good. We were starting to get the Skinners involved, because all of a sudden, fuckers, guys from our community might want this, as well. And it started to look like it could be like the golf, where we could all get together and do it.
This could be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, and it really would have been, in fairness, like. And then it all fell down because fucking politics got in the way.
And that is the one thing you have to say about rallying. Like, in general, like, competitors and all, like, there is no animosity from that side of things at all. It's all the one.
Oh, without a doubt. Always found that, especially down south too, and even up here. Now once you get into it and they find out your heart's in the right place, they will go with you. The problem, and as you know, most motor clubs is the same. It's whoever controls the checkbook thinks they rule the world, and that's what causes the problem. See, I always said, if you make the right decision and the decision's right for the competitors and for that rally, you're making the right decision. You can't go wrong if the competitors want it. Where what happens is you get the organisers, it's what's best for their club and what's best for their event and how much money it's going to cost them. They never look at who's going to be competing on the event or what effect it has on them, And that's what I always say. Like some of the, like they're making decisions to exclude cars 1 minute, and then no, you can't run that car in that class, and you can't do this because these new cars are coming through. And you're going, but you can't, you can't exclude cars because you don't like them anymore or they fall out of favour. Like you look at MUK done with your man and that Alfa Romeo Ferrari thing.
Andy Burton.
Andy Burton, like, was that spectacular? And you look at all our like, the cars.
Even we mentioned earlier too.
And Davy Greer. Remember Davy Greer built the Mazda and all. They're taking the engineering out of it. You can't now build your own car. And now look where it's going. These Mark IIs, because you're cutting a bit out of the floor, you're not allowed to run them anymore for insurance purposes. Like, but you can put a 2.5 fucking engine in it, like 340 plus brake horsepower. Yeah. And I know, and they're going down the road too. They're gonna ban them if they get their way now. Too many boys who are accountants running the business, and insurance can't do this and insurance can't do that, and madness. Yes.
But then, as you say, like, the likes of Gavin Campbell and guys like that, like, who are in there for the good of the sport, who are turning it round, they've got like rallying a really good online presence, and now are going to get it onto the TV as well, like ITV8 or whatever it is.
ITV4.
It's a huge start for them.
Yeah, Gavin's in the same motor club as me. Gavin, I always said Gavin should be in the Ulster rallies. That mentality and that. And I say education, but he's very knows the rules and everything has to be by the book. If it wasn't for Brian Crawford keeping him right, but I fell out with Gavin years ago. But he is good at what he's doing, and he's coming around. But in fair play, Crawford's guiding him. Let us say Brian has the brawn, Gavin has the brains. Yes. You know what I mean? And Brian's always, no, Gavin, you can't do this because, and you need to do this because, and then Gavin can go and make it happen, because people respect him, and he is very knowledgeable. He navigated years ago, a lot of these guys have experience, a lot of experience.
Yes.
And, some people don't get that, in fairness, they all think, he's only turning up and what would he know? He's just sitting organising, but they don't realise a lot of them have been there and done that. And
they've talked the talk, yeah.
Talked the talk, and had the results now, in fairness. But we need to bring more youth into it. We need to bring younger people up, and because the age is just getting older and older and older. I was at a clerk of the course the other day, and I think the average age must have been about 60. It's just there's no young blood coming through, and we need them in now so they can learn from those. That's what I always said in the UAC. See what I learned from the people in the UAC. It gave me the knowledge and the confidence to go forward and realise where they were coming from, rather than just a driver's perspective. This is why you have to do this, and this is why it needs to be that way. And then you go, well, I suppose when you look at it like that, it makes sense. You're not just doing it.
They have seen and they know what works and sometimes what doesn't work as well too.
Oh, very much so. Another thing UAC a lot of people don't know about. See, when the motorway was built in M1 down here, it was the UAC they went to set the speed limit, and that was in 1960 something, even earlier. And they were the main club at the time, so the government came to them and said, guys, what do you think? We need a speed limit. They set the speed limit at 70 mile an hour then. Now, you remember them, that was Anglias, they could probably only do 40 or 50 mile an hour. Yeah. So when you think 70 mile an hour then, that was fast.
Yes.
And we're still stuck at fucking 70 mile an hour. So it had to be something about it. The knowledge was there then. And they were the ones who created the 10 road closing orders in Northern Ireland. So the cars, it was for Dundrod now around the track, but it was for cars first. It wasn't for motorbikes.
Yes, that was back in the 1920s or even before that.
And they went through the government law. It shows you the pull they had then in their day. The politicians were able to. We got 10 special road closing orders, And
that's everybody thinks in Northern Ireland. That didn't happen in UK.
It didn't happen in UK, and it's not actually a road. It's called a road closing order, but it's not to close the road. The 10 orders is to relax the traffic laws so you can speed on the roads. So it's not actually just closing the roads. Yes. It's so you can break the law, basically, or break the speed limits when the road is closed. That's what the road closing orders do.
And the foresight to do that back 100 plus years ago.
Yeah. But that's when Stirling Moss was run. That's where I live now, up beside the Ulster Grand Prix track. Yes. Every time you're on it, you're thinking of the Joy Dunlops, the Stirling Mosses, the cars, and the Works Mercedes teams that came and got rode off in it in 42, and and they were the backbone, and that's why I think you've always to respect the UAC for that, because they set the precedent. They were the ones who made what other clubs carried on from as such,
And then I suppose, to the last question, I suppose, the Kadett still gets rolled out every now and again, for a deja vu and things like that there. Do you still get the tingles whenever you step back into it?
No, don't. And that's what I'd done a couple of deja vus, and I always think to myself, how the fuck do we get this thing on any stage? Like, the thumping and the banging and the crunching and the wipers not working and the screen steaming up, and you're going, how did you ever finish a rally on this thing? Like my car is as it came off the last stage, like in the last rally I'd done, and I enjoy showing it off, and I love seeing people getting fun out of it and enjoying it, but I don't get a big lot of pressure out of driving it down the stages. Like, I don't, and it's even like when you go spectating nowadays. See, when you've been there and done that, it's not the same. When you go and drive down a stage, it's just not. You're going, I've done this before. I don't like driving it anymore. I'm going to put it off. I can put it off in the last stage of it. So I love the events. The events are brilliant, and I would love somebody to take the car and preserve it and keep it going.
Yes.
But I think I don't know where I would sell it around. I probably would sell it, in fairness, like if the deja vus are going, but it's only good for deja vus now because I cut the bulkhead to move the engine back, so they won't give me a logbook to compete anymore in it. I went to do 00 in it in Killarney, and they wouldn't let me. Nagle and all the boxes ticked, but my license that I have up here for safety car license doesn't apply down south. And I go, what's the difference like? And that's what stopped me doing 00. I think it was 2 years ago in Killarney. But Nagle and all had it all sorted. We were going to do it, and they wouldn't let the car. Then has to have hands, devices, and has to be a competing car. If you can afford to bring a competing car down, you may as well do the bloody rally.
Yes.
Like, all we're doing is just running at the front of the field to create memories. Like, but I still have the wee Forest car. I still have the Group 2 historic car out there. I haven't finished it yet, like, but it's been painted this last 6 years, and I just haven't got near it, like, to get finishing it now. But will I take it out again? I don't know. I might just sell it on down there.
And the fact that, you go to them deja vus and people still remember who you are. They still want to.
I know, but
they still have the
brilliant.
stories,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm the quickest one at the bar now. Like, and I'd always say that to all the young ones now, always create your memories. Because that's all you have. And this is what I really enjoyed about Tyndall and that. My son now is 30, and I'm able to Google YouTube, and he'll see all the videos of Tyndall, and it's all there in the ether. And that's a lovely legacy to still have, where friends and family can pass it on, and like, he thinks I'm a dick, as you do. Your sons always do, like, and he would be the next works driver if I would build a car for him, like, But it's still nice to have that, and you get people, I've seen you on a video, and Tyndall's is starting to come back again, would you believe? People are now watching it on YouTube and seeing that, fuck, that's brilliant, and it's now getting a new younger generation following. Like, Tyndall's a superstar when he goes anywhere now. They're all looking at autographs and all, because he was the voice of motorsport, man. Yeah. Which he was. Like, he'd done so much for what brought us to where we are.
What do you call it? Motorsport Ireland bought the catalogue, and they're putting out a different rally or a different event every Thursday night. And it's also almost recreating that.
Oh, it's brilliant. Like, it really is. And you're fast forwarding through, did I do that rally? There's a couple of them looking going, I don't remember doing that. And you go, was it 95 Galway? I think it was. That was the Mark Lovell years. Oh, the way you forget doing them, you forget you've done right. I need to get into Donna Kelly's toolboxes. He has all the programs and all the results. Yes. I went up one day and I only found them. Who was with me? Somebody says, where do you see this? And next thing we're sitting down, programs from all the harvests, from all the rallies. You're going, entry list. Look, I've done that. Don't remember doing that. Look who's done this. And it's fantastic. Like, that thing's brilliant that he's done up there. Like, it really is good.
Really is a credit.
I could spend a day in them toolboxes going through them programs.
I never mind the cars, just the memorabilia.
Memorabilia and the models, like, and you the models too now. Like, but that's what I'm saying. If you had a box in and put all the programs and all the results and all the cuttings and everything away, wouldn't it be great to have now? Like, and this is what's great, the likes of this, of this, and then Guy done a thing for his thing, and it's putting it together now, and hopefully people can now realise and realize, because there are many people rallying and they go, I've done nothing, I've nothing to prove what I've done, I've nothing to show for it. At least me and all the mates are with me have something to remember being part of it. As such, it's that camaraderie and everybody who knew us I still know us and still come back and say, look, I remember you done this and I remember you done that and you went through the hedge here and you're the one. I'll tell you one quick one before we finish. The circuit one year, we coming down the stage and it was wet and turned square left. But I went off, spun the car, went down and up a ditch. As you do, it bumped up the ditch. And I remember the corner of my eye seeing a marshal falling into the field. Thought no nothing off it at first gear on the way down the road. Turned out it broke his leg. And the UAC made sure to tell me that I'd done this and didn't stop. I said, I didn't know him, I didn't see nothing. But fast forward about 5 years later, this boy comes up to me. I forget his name blipped in and blipped out of me. I know him now. Like, he came up to me and he says, "Fuck, I remember the circuit. I was marshal at one time, and you were done, and you came down and you hit a boy, and he went over the hedge and you broke his leg." He says, "I plunker shouldn't have been standing there." Like, he says, "That was me." Now, we're still friends with him now, a real nice guy, and he's still marshalling and all, like, but talk about getting caught out, like, that was me. what do you do? Like, oh, fucking hell. What was his name? Tiger, I think is his nickname.
Yeah, and I suppose before we let you go, final question. You mentioned Mark Lovell, like, what a guy he was. Like,
it was a half an hour, not like.
We all kind of thought he was this kind of sort of maybe upper middle class English kind of tough, but he was far from that, really.
No, he was. but that's the problem. I first met Mark, and they brought the Sierra Challenge over here. It was up in Nuts Corner in the racetrack where they brought these Sierras, and the first thing you had to do, they put a ball on the bonnet, you had to drive around more or less on the handbrake to keep the ball in, and then you had to do something else with it, and then you got out on the track along with that. It was Lovell,
Jimmy McRae, Steve Soper. I was there.
Soper.
I took part in it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's where I met Mark. I remember Soper. I remember that name. I thought McRae was at it. Like,
yeah.
So we gets into this Sierra and take off. I never been anything as quick in my life. Like, and it wasn't special, but he works driver sitting beside you, so away you go round. I fucking drifting it, but to get there sideways, you had to bounce the clutch, like. So I'm setting it out round all the Nuts Corner, and Lovell's giggling, like, and he's having a laugh. So you went round the circuit, and you had to go through these two like goalposts, with flaps on them. So if you're to one side, you'll hit that flap, and you're one side, you'll hit that flap. I went through it that fast to hit both flaps. Now, when you think of it, that's impossible, but it was the wind and the speed of it. And the things went off and the lights started flashing, and Lovell says, "Fuck, to do that? How do you hit both?" He says, "We better go back and do that again," he says. So we ran through it again, and we got through it as you did, like. But I remember him saying, "Why do you dip the clutch all the time?" And he started nicknaming me Dipper, because I dipped the clutch, like. But we sort of hit it off, and I said, "Well, are you staying here tonight?" He says, "Yeah, we are. We're down in such and such a hotel." I says, "Look, we'll call down later and we'll go out and have a few pints." He says, "Perfect, we'll do that." And that was where we started the relationship with him. And then the next time was Galway. Was it Galway or West Cork? And we're sitting in, and I remember saying to him, "You know what do you think? Works driver is brilliant." I remember he was a genuine guy. He says, "You think Works driver is brilliant?" He says, "You really do. And you think everybody's made their pit and they're giving you cars." He says, "But you have to wear their clothes. You have to go to their events. You can't, they own you." And he says, and you can see he was really disheartened with it, driving the Works car, because, and then sure Brooks and the Isle of Man has stroked him. He should have won that now, in fairness, like, without a doubt. Like. Yeah. And then the next time I met him was Galway 95, and he was with a guy, Duncan somebody, and Duncan had this Toyota.
The Group N Celica.
The Group N Celica. And Duncan was paying for everything, and Mark was there. He was on full jolly mode, like, because he was there representing himself, basically, and Duncan, he could win with his car easy, like. So we're on the rip that night, and he fell in with this one, and she was gorgeous now, in fairness to her, like. But you know what his two chat-up lines was, and he was brilliant. The first one he'd go in with was, I do work for the Samaritans. So that was his chat-up line, you know. When I'm home, and I'm at home of a big house at home, and my spare time I would work for the Samaritans, and next thing you can see them, Mark. And then the killer punch. And I keep horses as well. For some reason, women love horses. And he says this one, "Oh yeah, I have a couple of stallions at home, and my father left me this property and a few horses and that." And of course he's single, like, and next thing he's gone with her, like, never seen where he went. The next day, Park Ferme, here's Duncan stamping the keys. The car, no sign of Lovell. Didn't turn up. He ended up sleeping in with a woman, and when he woke up, wherever he was, he'd no car to find out where Park Ferme or anything was. So it was too late. And Duncan standing, and then Tyndall straight over. "Well, where's Mark? Oh, the car won't start. There's a way trying to get a mechanic." And that's the story. Tyndall said the car wouldn't start up. Something happened to the engine management system overnight. Water or something must have got into it. Like, I know what fucking got into Lovell. Like. Brilliant. Like. Real good guy. Like, real genuine guy. Like. And he has a son the same age as mine. God rest him. Lovell. Like. And I remember the time we were texting, you know, because, well, how's your girl doing? And how's your girl doing? And yeah, anywhere near it, like, and his son was born in the same, I think it was in 3 days of my son being born, like.
Yes.
So, and then he goes and gets himself killed, like, and freaking real nice guy, like, a real. And do you remember the comment? Remember, was he called Kenny Colbert?
Yes.
Remember he hit Kenny Colbert? Kenny was in the Pew show?
Aye, the 205, the wee
Yeah,
Western
and
205.
Culver's fuming in the service area. This English hit my car, and I only tapped him
Yeah, I just give it
at 120 mile an hour. Only but that's the characters you needed. They're the ones that created the RPMs. In fairness, they
Because
brought the
we're still
humour and
talking
the
about
fun.
that 30 years later, or whatever, 40 years later, aren't we?
I'd love to see that one when it comes up now. That one with Lovell and Colbert. Like.
But Kieran, you are one of those characters. You did make RPM. Like in fairness, you were the entertainment.
You don't see that at the time. In fairness, now I suppose everybody has their own personality. Like, but I always like. This is one thing that people didn't know. We used to practice interviews. Jerry Faluna was very good at PR, and we bought a camera. And we used to go down at the rallies, and we used to go down the thing and put the camera in front of you, and you used to try and talk into the camera to try and give you that bit of skill where you didn't look like a fool. Yeah. And you didn't look like it's hard sometimes. A lot of people think it's easy, but if you're not used to it and somebody puts a camera and a mic in front of you, and you're trying to be witty and you're trying not to be boring and you're trying to be funny just because you are, but it's not as easy. Like if I could find some of the tapes we had, I remember interviewing Philip Robinson, Phil Cherry. Phil Cherry does a brilliant Russian interview, and we have it all on camera. Like letting on his fucking Sigourney Watsakov or something. Like, and Phil had a Lada in them days, so we used to practice the interview and him with a Lada. Like, in fairness, like, and Crozier, some crackers with Crozier, like doing the interviews, and Philip, because Philip would be very camera shy now. In fairness to him now, but. Fuck, if I could find them tapes now, like they were brilliant. Like. But again, but Tyndall made it, and we made it for Tyndall, I suppose. But here was not a great world to be part of. Like, it really was. Remember, you're rubbing shoulders with the best, the Fishers, the McHales, the freaking all the big boys. Like you competed against them all. Like, and that's just something you can say. I met McHale at one of the Deja Vu's, and I was in great form now. In fairness, like, and he's been. You don't realize that you don't think that they noticed you or knew you. But I remember standing in the toilet having a piss at one time, and McHale came in and says, "Well, how's the Kadett going?" I'm going, "Fuck, I didn't even think you knew I had a Kadett." you don't. You just. But again, it's RPM. It's RPM that done it. Like. Yeah. And the Deja, I would recommend the Deja Vu's to anybody. So see for bringing back the memories and having the fun and having the banter. A lot of people sort of kicking them, but they're a great night at the bar. In fairness, like especially if you get some old competitors there. You can cast up memories and have some real slagging matches, like in fairness, like get your own back for a change.
I suppose then, like me being a big Lada fan, I heard a Lada come to a very sad end in Port Salon one day too. And it wasn't
a Lada. It was a Hyundai Pony, I think.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
A Pony or a Lada? It was one of the two of them. Again, we're on the rip of Port Salon, and we're all sitting having a pint, and somebody says, "Would you drive out into the water over the pier?" Like, and it was Philip Robinson's Raggy car. We were doing a Raggy for Donegal, like, and it was only worth £100 or something. It wasn't a big, expensive car. Like, I tell you what, Crozier had a Cortina, and every time Crozier braked, the headlight fell out. But anyway, it was also, and somebody started to put up money. Philip, will buy it off you. We'll give you £100 for it. No. How am I going to get home? How am I going to do the Raggy? How am I going to? I'd say another pint, and we had done that. We had four of us. We're going to go in the car. And we'd drive, and remember, keep the windows open, have somebody sitting there. If we can't get out, we need somebody. And we had all this plan going, and they say, "Hey, whose round is it?" Like, and I swear to God, I was that close to doing it now. It really was, like.
And then I suppose, like, we shouldn't let it finish up. We have to remember Jim and Philip.
I know.
You had such great times, and that was what made rallying so special to you, was having those good people around you.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, in fairness, like Philip would have been my really close mate now, really, definitely, and Jim too. Like, but Jim sort of went off the rally school, and I think we ended up around me and Jim more than anything, because I'm still passionate about it, and Jim's going, "There's not enough money in it, and we can't do this. Nobody cares about that." And he got the old man head on before we did, in fairness, like. But he only passed there, but you still miss him, And what the scary bit is there's only two of us left, me and Faluna, and I just hope to God I lost Faluna. Like, I don't want to go first, like. But it is a sad bit now when you think of even all your competitors. That's all you're hearing, Did you hear such and such passed? And like, I'm 62 this year. And it does get scary, and it gets emotional, like when you lose your friends and you lose your mates. Like, it really is. It's hard, and it gets, especially because you spend so many good years with them. You get acquaintances who you sort of blend in with and then blend away with. We never blended away. We were always mates. We used to go out, and we still do to this day, on a Friday to the pub for pints, and we used to do it on a Sunday night them days, and down in the markets in Belfast, we used to go around and we all met on a Sunday night, all the service crew and everybody. It was a ritual, and everybody, we still have all good friends. Like Paul Skillen, his own garage now, he would come out. There's another young guy, Chris McKay. Chris is our IT guy. He's brilliant at all the stickers and all the I'll see some of the books he does for our Christmas dinners. Again, we still have our Christmas dinners every year. We all get together. The last one, there was 60 people went to it, like, and I'm thinking, wow, still 60 people want to come out for a night out with us, like, and they're all good friends. And it's nice to see them growing up and moving on and doing well for themselves, and having the legacy and the confidence to say, I was part of that. I might have been young, like the 22 that we brought to Barbados, we're all still friends, and it was still Christmas. I think there was 2 didn't go because they couldn't go or something now, but there's still that clique and nucleus of people who were involved and who still are proud to say they were involved, like, and so you lift the phone and they'll still help you, like. That's a nice thing about it, like.
So what can we say? That was amazing, great crack, really enjoyed it, and Kieran, really appreciate your time once again. That was a really special conversation, and we'd like to, hopefully we'll get lots more of those before the year's out. We're really enjoying these conversations with Conor. What can we say? They are a pleasure, and long may it continue. And if anybody else has any ideas, if anybody else would like to see featured, please let us know.
That's it. Like, we drew up a target list a couple of years ago of people we wanted to talk to, and we're certainly working our way through that list. But Kieran's been on that list, and finally we got the opportunity. And likewise, there's a few others out there which we think people will be very interested to hear from that we have lined up, for in the coming months.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So appreciate you taking the time from listening. So until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
That's the proudest day and the proudest time and the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.